experienced adults like you. Whether you're looking to grow in your current role or enter a new field, at Concordia, you'll learn from experts and grow your professional network. Visit cuw.edu to learn more about business, healthcare, teaching, and STEM programs starting soon. Concordia University. Live uncommon.
The playoffs are here, and every moment is bigger than the next.
Get out of here, gone!
This is the Hunt for Brew October on Brewers Extra Innings, sponsored by Delta
Pitch.
Dental.
Fly ball deep right! Back to back!
Now to break it all down live from American Family Field, here is your host, Dom Catronio.
Man, that's a gut punch to hear that call from Jeff Levering after the way the ninth inning unfolded as the Brewers fall today. Their season is over. 4-2 the final. A Pete Alonso go-ahead 3-run homer off of Devin Williams. Yeah, I'm still gathering the emotions here, Augie, because, I mean, the script was going to plan. It was working. And if there was any doubt of, oh, man, where could this go wrong, or could that go wrong, Devin was not near the top of that list, to say the least. And as we've said, literally all season, but especially in the postseason, a leadoff walk is always a recipe for a rally. And when you're only up 2-0, it's practically a wildfire. And it was a wildfire that Devin couldn't contain. The Mets stayed alive, and Pete Alonso sat changeup. He didn't swing at a single pitch of that at-bat until he got that 3-1 changeup. Goes to the opposite field, and that's your season.
Yeah, it's you live that inning. You lived all of the game the way it was played prior to that. I thought that the Brewers pitching staff was one of the most dominating pitching games that they have had all year up until the ninth inning. I'll tell you, when you look at what Tobias Myers did, he threw 71% strikes. Overall, up until the ninth inning, it was over 70% strikes, locating the pitches. They did not hit a ball hard. Lindor had the only 2 hits up until that time, and he's such a good hitter. And everybody else, I don't think there was a hard ball hit. I don't think there was anything that you say, hey, we had to make a great play on it. It was just going right to where you want it. But like you said, anytime you get late in the ball game and you have a small lead and the leadoff guy walks, things happen. And I'll tell you what, as soon as he got up to be 15, 16 pitches and things weren't going well, you just knew, you're just hoping that he could make that one good pitch and maybe get a double play ball or get himself out of the inning, but it didn't work out.
It didn't work out. Now, I want to quote, I'm a big reader, and I think that baseball history sometimes gets lost to the wayside, especially in the modern generation in a way. And Bart Giamatti wrote a book that I would recommend to any baseball fan. It would literally take you 2 hours to read it. It's called Take Time for Paradise, and one of my favorite scriptures from it, he was brief commissioner of Major League Baseball before he was tragically taken too soon from a heart attack. He was president of the National League. I know you didn't really get to see him cross paths over on that side of thing, but this is from Take Time for Paradise. Baseball breaks your heart. It's designed to break your heart. The game begins in the spring when everything else begins again, and it blossoms in the summer, filling the afternoons and evenings, and then as soon as the chill rains come, it stops, and it leaves you to face all the fall all alone. You count on it, rely on it to buffer the passage of time, to keep the memory of sunshine and high skies alive, and just when the days are all twilight, when you need it most, it stops. And it has now stopped for the Brewers here in 2024, and a season that had a lot of promise, a season that honestly, Augie, I felt better about this season than I did last. I really did. I mean, coming into the matchup, coming into the series, coming into the personnel, I mean, everything about it, I thought this was going to be the year that the Brewers finally at least won a series, for goodness sake, and they were 2 outs away from doing so. But that's why we play all 27 outs, and if you were a neutral baseball fan, you won tonight. The Brewers certainly didn't. The Mets did, obviously, but nonetheless, we just watched back-to-back all-time classics here in this ballpark, and drama that will break down, but we also want to hear from the fans. 855-616-1620, 855-616-1620. Augie, I mean, we'll find the words throughout the show, but I don't want to put a full headstone on this season yet, but just a little short.
Just got to let it sink in. This is the type of game where, you play 27 outs, and until that 27th out is made, the game can go either way, and that's what happens. And you look at the game, and you got everything set up like you want it, and all of a sudden it just falls apart. And that's the one thing that is so neat about the game of baseball. You just don't know. Little things start out to be big things, and you make one bad pitch, or you look at what the recipe was for the Mets in that ninth inning. I thought coming in right with Lindor, what he was trying to do, he was trying to drive the ball the opposite way. Right away when I saw him up there, he earned that walk going the other way. Nemo went up the middle, but other than that, it just seemed like everybody they had was trying to hit the ball the opposite way. And then when Alonso came up there, I said, you just cannot. This guy has got power that can hit the ball out of anywhere. Just you can't make a mistake away from him. He got the ball up away on a 3-1 pitch and was able to drive it out of the ballpark. It's shattering because Devin is throwing the ball so well. If there's a guy that I want on the mound at the end of a game, he is still my guy. He is the guy that I want there because the success is so high. But tonight it caught him.
I agree. I think the script will break down what went right for the Brewers, and then obviously the ninth inning going wrong. I mean, let's also talk about this fact too. That was the first walk of the game. There was a hit batter. That was the first walk of the game for Brewers pitching to that point in the game, leading off the ninth inning, and it finally felt like a crack in the door for the Mets to break through. And furthermore, not only was it the first walk of the game, Devin had Lindor 1-2, and
That's right.
had him to swing and miss, and then eventually walked him. He struck out Vientos. He had Nimmo 0-2 before giving up the single, and then ultimately the home run to Alonso on a 3-1 pitch. Let's get to some phones. Let's get to some calls. 855-616-1620. Riley from Weston. Riley, you're live here on Brewers Extra Innings.
Hey, first of all, thanks for all you do, Dom.
Hey, thank you, Riley. Appreciate that.
I'm 24. I coach baseball for a living. I feel like I understand the game more than most. I've watched the Brewers religiously ever since I could remember. I know a lot of others have been at this longer. I drive 3+ hours to go to 20, 25 games a year, and I love doing it. I can say that this was the most fun I've ever had watching this team, and I think a lot of others probably agree. And the emotion I'm feeling more than anything right now is just pure sadness. I mean, the last few playoff appearances have been rough, but this one just felt like the ultimate gut punch, and it's going to take a while to get over this one, I think.
Yeah, I think you're speaking for a lot of fans there, Riley. Appreciate that, and thanks for keeping the game alive, being a coach. I think, Augie, the fun and how exciting this team was, because you felt like it was a window opening, and it felt like a mixture of that window opening with all these young guns emerging, and also sort of a last dance, if you will, with Willy Adames and what's the future to hold for him. But I agree. It was a really freaking fun season, and that's worth nothing, obviously, right now. But, man, we can evaluate the whole season all off season long, but yeah, I am going to remember this as a fun season despite this sour ending.
Oh, no doubt about it. I think this team has accomplished so much, but it's so funny about the game of baseball. And I don't care how many rookies you have on a team, how many veterans you have on a team. When you get an opportunity to do what this club did all season long, and I just think it's miraculous that they never lost more than 3 games, to go out and play the way they did, to bounce back like they did last night with the big inning and winning that ball game. And the fans tonight, after they got the two home runs back to back, and boy, putting in a great position, it just seems like it hurts. It hurts, and it hurts deeply now, because we're going to sit down and as the fans, we're going to say, why, what happened here, and oh yeah, they had a great season. But I always like the one thing they talk about, when you get an opportunity, I don't care who you are, when you are, or how you have done it, you've got to take advantage of that opportunity. And it's so unfortunate because this club had so many magical things that they did for us all year, so many highs. I think in doing games, doing post-game games and talking, we talk so much positiveness on this ball club all year long. It's hard to be negative. And yet you sit here tonight and you go that last inning when Alonso hit that home run, you go, wow, it's life, and it's true, and it happens, and that's the game of baseball.
And what stings the most is that it was with your best.
Right.
It was playoff caliber baseball. I mean, this was high quality baseball. There was not an error committed in tonight's game. There was very few walks. There was a couple of home runs. That was the difference of the game because those were the only really mistake pitches of the night. And that's what I think hurts the most about tonight is that it was working, and you go to your best, and your best got beat. And sometimes your best isn't good enough, and that's sports, that's life. It's a perfect metaphor for the rest of the world, for young fans who maybe have only seen the Brewers fail, quite frankly, because now there's a whole new generation that don't remember the excitement of 11 and 8, and it's just like, all right, well, 18 was fun, obviously, but now, okay, 19, gut punch. 2020 was odd. 2021, gut punch. 2022 missed the playoffs by a game and a half. 2023, gut punch here. Stronger gut punch, to say the least. Let's get back to the phone line. Sam from New Berlin. Sam, you're live here on Brewers Extra Innings.
Hi, guys. I really appreciate what he's done all season, Dom. And yeah, this one it's going to sting for a long time.
Yeah, I agree. Appreciate the kind words. What else you got, Sam?
I don't know. It just hurts. Last night I was at the game and just the emotions I went through watching that win last night. And then the next night I'm just going through a whole different set of emotions. It just sucks.
Yeah, perfect. Nailed it there, Sam. I think we're going to have a lot of calls like that, but keep them coming. I'm all for it. Appreciate you calling, the honesty there, Sam. I mean, last night being so fun as it was, we talked about it plenty. Garrett Mitchell, I didn't even get a chance to say hi to Garrett today because of all the chaos downstairs, and it's just like, man, like, he didn't even get in the game today. But Jake Bauers in his first postseason after how brutal it was on Tuesday night for him, swinging at the first pitch with the bases loaded, popping out to redeem himself. You could write the whole thing, the headline, redeem, it's just... And then it's all for naught. It's just a footnote now.
Yeah, and you look at this team, and you had so many. You know what's so neat about it? You have so many players that stepped up throughout the season. Every one of these players can go in and they can do an evaluation of themselves and say, you know what? I had a time during the season where I really felt like I was at the top of my game. I did things the right way, and now I have to build on that. It's unfortunate what happened on it, but I have to sit back and I have to do a little evaluation, and it takes time. After a season's over like this, it takes time just to get away just for a couple of days. Doesn't feel good, and you think about ways you could have changed the game, but the fact is that it didn't work out. But you still have to look at it and say, you know, what I did, what can I do to get better, and how can I help this team be better next year? And you do look at that, but that takes time. The hurt is there, and it hurts, and you sit there right now trying to figure out why, what could I have done, and it was a 3-run homer by Alonso that changed the game.
All right, let's get to one more call before we take our first break of the night. I see all of y'all on the line. Don't worry, be patient. I want to get to everybody. If you're going to wait in line, I want to get to you. So I see you, Jason, Mark, Greg, Ben, Ray. I see all of you guys. But right now, I want to get to Caden out in Tosa. Caden, you're live here on Brewers Extra Innings.
Hey, guys. Thank you again for the great year. Lots of highs and lows. This one obviously being the low, but I really am just sick of how we come up short, and we just see on the TV at Nacio behind home plate grinning when the two least expected players take the lead for us in a big spot, and he still won't shell out any money. We're going to lose Willie Adames in the offseason. We're going to lose whoever else, and he'll be happy because he can sell out three games in October. And that's about it. And with him at the helm, we're not going to get any better. I really want to be sad, but right now I am upset because the past 4 years in a row, it's the same outcome. We have a heck of a regular season, and then we come up short, and it's brutal. It really is brutal, and I'm sad. I'm sad that this is. I grew up with the 11-8 Brewers, and excitement, and now he doesn't want to put that extra effort. He puts it in the PGA, he puts it in the EPL. No, he doesn't put any hands in the Brewers, and I'm honestly just sick of it. But thank you again, guys. You guys did a great job all year. Long-time listener. Love you guys. Something has to change.
I appreciate the honesty, Caden. I really do. I think a lot of fans sometimes it's fair, and I think a lot of what Caden, not all of it, I thought a lot of it was fair, what he said there. We actually caught up with Mark Atanasio as a media contingent earlier this week, and I asked him point blank, are you going to be competitive in re-signing Willy Adames? And he said they certainly hope so. They know there are teams with deeper pockets, and I know fans don't care to hear that, especially after, just getting a kick in the you-know-where at the end of the season. But, I can sit here and say, would you consider the alternative? And it's like, all right, well, an owner that they went out and signed Rhys Hoskins. I know it didn't go well, but hey, did you think you were going to ever have access to a player like that, Rhys Hoskins, to re-sign Brandon Woodruff and pay him for a year that he knew he wasn't going to pitch, to extend Devin for 2 years, to not have to go to arbitration with him last year, and then this coming year, no matter what happens for him in this offseason? The Brewers have to get creative, and I know some fans don't want to hear that, and I'm fine with that. I can talk about it till the cows come home about the economic challenges and that sort of thing, but at the end of the day, fans don't want to hear excuses, and I don't blame them from that. I think that's a beautiful thing to have the standard be raised. I'm fine with that. Let's be educated. Let's be cordial like Caden was there. I appreciate it. I think honesty is good. I also think, though, at the same time, you cannot disassociate the most successful era of Brewers baseball from Mark Atanasio, because he's not the only reason, but he is a part of the reason why the Brewers are here. It sucks to come up short, but he's not the guy on the field. If Devin Williams, if that's a ninth inning like he has done hundreds of times, it's no big deal, and we're not even talking about Mark, and we're moving on to Philly, but he's not the guy on the field. There's only so much he can do.
It is, and you talk about getting players, and you look at what you're trying to accomplish. I think there's so many of these young players that exceeded anything that we thought of that they could have done. What would have happened in a different situation with Cheerio when we were back in June saying, you know what, here's a guy that needs to go back to the minors. Here's a guy he needs some downtime in the minor leagues. That could have happened, but no, the patience that Murph had with him, the patience that the organization had with him, and just to stay up with him, and the veteran players that they had here really did a great job. And everybody's going to look at themselves and saying, if I could have just done one more thing, maybe we make that next step. But you know what the honest thing is? Every time you put on the uniform that year, it isn't successful unless you win the World Series. Yeah. Unless you get to the playoffs and go deep. Unless you do something exceeding what anybody thought you were going to do. This team really exceeded things during the season that we never thought they were going to do. How they played, where they went about their job, all the things they've improved offensively and defensively and pitching-wise, the great arms that they have in this organization now. But it's still, when you fall short like it did tonight, boy, it hurts.
All right, I see everybody here on the line. Jason, Mark, Greg, Ben, Ray, Tony, Jim, I see all of y'all. I got to take a break. We're going to get more after this. Brewers fall 4-2. The season is over. We want to hear from the fans tonight. 855-616-1620. 855-616-1620. There will be some game talk in this one, too. Jerry Augustine and Dom Catronio with you on your home of the Brewers, 620 WTMJ.
When the power goes out, your life is disrupted. Heat, air conditioning, refrigeration, phones, all gone. Be prepared for the next outage with a Generac home standby generator. After sensing a power outage, a Generac generator automatically restores your home's power, whether you're home or away. Power your life with a generator from Adams, Wisconsin's #1 rated Generac dealer. Adams provides sales, installation, maintenance, and 24/7 service from all locations. Learn why Adams is your best choice in providing power peace of mind. Visit adamspower.com today.
Artwork, especially original artwork, can be pricey. But when you take it in on consignment from nice people like you who are just ready to change the look of their home, you can price it right. And you'll find a lot of it at Design Exchange. Beautiful frame pieces by a number of notable artists. And new ones pop in all the time. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. In Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Now these tend to fly off the shelves. But don't worry, because our connection supplies us with a lot of them. Vintage ceiling tiles from once great old buildings in New York City that make for ultra-unique artwork. These items are definitely hard to find from anywhere else around here. So come take a look, and you'll probably find a treasure. This is Katie with Design Exchange, where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor at a value. In Heartland and Pewaukee.
Design Exchange.
Brew October is sponsored by Delta Dental.
Welcome back. I'm Dom Cotroneo with Jerry Augustine. We're going till the cows come home. 855-616-1620, 855-616-1620. Text from Doug talking about Devin Williams. Walks finally caught up with him. Can't walk first batter. Ironic that the bullpen got them here, and then they ended it. Appreciate the text and your listenership all year long with us here, Doug. Appreciate you. Every year, same song and dance. Brewers are in first in the division. They are a strong contender, but every year they fall on their face, can't get past the first round. Sad. One of these days, they're going to get by it. I really do believe it. The only criticism, why was Mitchell on the bench all night, especially with Contreras hurt? I would have bet Garrett was going to pinch hit for Perkins if it got to there in the bottom of the ninth, because they had a righty warming up in the bullpen.
Yeah.
Once they got through Terang, they would have gone to Stanek, and then I bet we would have seen Mitchell in that case, but nonetheless, it did not happen. Real quick, before we get to these callers, I just want to touch on the positive of how much fun that seventh inning was, because I feel like it's going to be pretty negative the rest of the way here. But Jake Bauers riding a moment, 3-2 count, his first postseason, how brutal it was on Tuesday for him. He had the day off yesterday. To hit a home run, a no-doubter, too. I mean, it just felt like, oh, my God. It happened. They're going to do it. They're going to do it.
It was, you see the way he was up there. He worked the count. I thought he worked the count excellently.
Yeah, he was behind 1-2.
1-2, and just waited for his pitch. And the guy made a mistake on the inner part down a little bit. And boy, he put a good swing on it. He's hit a lot of big home runs. But I'll tell you what, in his career, that at bat, the good at bats that we had that inning, and with Sal coming right after going, he went up there looking. You throw a pitch in that zone, I'm going to hit it. And boy, he hit it hard. And you had 2 home runs over 400 feet. You hit the ball pretty well, but 2 really good at-bats, 2 aggressive at-bats, and I thought Bauers really set the stage for Sal hitting the home run when he got that pitch down middle of the plate and hit the ball in the ballpark.
And then you lead me to Sal. I mean, I was joking with Greg Matzik, who's down in the clubhouse right now. I was joking with Greg Matzik because, Blake Perkins had just missed one earlier in the game down the left field line. He was just a hair ahead of it, and I kind of looked at him like, man, where would that rank as far as, most random Brewer postseason home runs? And I did not think Sal Frelick was going to be on that list. And it was the hardest hit ball of his career, 108 miles an hour off the bat. No doubter. He pimped it. He watched it. He enjoyed it. I think the dugout liked it more than he liked it.
I was sitting talking with Ken Springer and Craig Kashan, and we all looked at each other, and all in the same sentence, we all said, have you ever seen him hit a ball that hard? He just, boy, what a good swing. And I'll tell you what, he stood at the plate and watched it. I'll tell you what, I would have stood there a little longer because that was hit hard. What a good swing. But you know what? He got that good pitch, gave the Brewers that second run. That was a huge run. Just unfortunate that they came up with 3 or 4.
All right, well, I see Jason has dropped, so we'll get back to next in line. Mark in Milwaukee. Mark, you're live here on Brewers Extra Innings.
Well, hello, fellas. I'm
How we doing?
Very young and strong 77-year-old. I still play about 5 games of softball every year.
Love it.
And I'm pretty good at it, yeah. And I play left field where all the people hit because everybody's righties.
Of course.
I'm fast and I'm strong. And guess what? I'm not what I used to be, but here's what I got to say. I remember when I was a kid, the Milwaukee Braves, how great they were. And I remember the Brewers in the 70s and 80s, how great they were. I'm going to tell you what, today, in the last 10 years, what we've had in Milwaukee has been great. It's been great because we didn't have it. Now, we got a manager that I love. I think that he is so good. It's unbelievable. But you know what he did tonight? He left Devin Williams in there when Devin did not have his game. He didn't have his game. And you could see that from the first or second pitch. He wasn't throwing correctly. He wasn't throwing it the way he normally does. What do you do in a situation like this, life or death? 9th inning. You know what? You say, Devin, do you think you got it or not? Because I'm going to get somebody else in here. Nobody went out there. Talk to him. And we left him in there to give up 4 runs. And the man has been great. He didn't have it tonight. Mm-hmm. That's the manager and the coach's job to make sure in that situation, look, son, I know how good you are. You just ain't got it tonight. We're going to pull you out of here because we got to win this game. They didn't do that. And by the way, let me say this now. The game shouldn't have even been played tonight. The errors in the first game,
yeah.
I don't even want to get there because it just makes me nauseous.
I hear you, Mark.
Made me nauseous. And then when I saw that yesterday, but we pulled it out, I was just wrenching. You know what? And I know you were too. I know
Amen.
You were too. And here's the thing. But we pulled it out yesterday. And then, but nobody's hitting. The team is not hitting. What happened? We're one of the best hitting teams, highest batting averages in baseball. And nobody was hitting. Now, Sal hits a home run. He's not a home run hitter. He's a good hitter.
Right.
And he's a good player. But he's not a home run hitter. And Bowers is a home run hitter when he plays a little bit. But he's a 200 hitter. But he did that too, you know. And Churio, God bless him. I mean, this kid, this is his first year. You know what we're looking at in the future?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what we're looking at. Are we looking
we're looking at something special, Mark.
Hank Aaron, I don't know what we're looking at because he can field. He can do everything else. But you know how sick this is? How sick I am tonight? I'm absolutely, no.
Yeah, Mark, I hear you, Mark. Mark, brother, I love your passion, man. If I keep you on any longer, we have to put you on WTMJ payroll, my man. I got a lot of people in line behind you. But, hey, man, I love your passion. I love that you're still playing ball. I think that's an incredible thing. But I love what you said about Murph because I think I'm going to transition that here to you, Augie. Appreciate he is great. And I've known Murph a long time. Appreciate the call there, Mark. Thank you, man. I've known Murph a long time, and I think it's really special that the ovations that he gets when the starting lineups is announced, how much he loves this city, his connectedness to this city and the fans and everything, and guys like Mark, and I'm sure there are plenty of people that dislike him too, and there are moments and whatever. It's baseball, it's sports. The guy in charge has to fall on the sword sometimes, but man, I think Pat Murphy, what a home run hire it was in hindsight. I know they didn't go past this round, but I struggle to think of somebody right off the top of my head that would have done a better job with this young of a group and all the adversity that I face. And I know, don't put words in my mouth here saying that it's good enough, because it's not. But I thought he did a heck of a job this year.
When Murph was hired, a lot of people questioned exactly what were they trying to accomplish, and Murph came right out and said, "I just wasn't hired to be the manager for right now. I'm hired here to come here and do something special." And I thought right from spring training, when you watch this team play from the very beginning of the season, they progressed like a team should throughout the year. Incredibly how when you talk about a team and how you have to be quality on balanced in all three phases of the game, this team was both in the pitching and the defense and the offense throughout most of the season. This team was really balanced, and it comes from a guy who's patient, that understands, who knows that he has to build relationships, that totally understands that, and he has very much a devotion for the game. Inside the locker room, I'm sure he takes care of business. Outside the locker room, he does exactly what he does. He understands his players. He knows how to be critical when to be critical, and he knows how to get the best out of them. And that's all you can ask. He's done beyond an excellent job, as far as I'm concerned, what he's done with these young players and how they molded this team together.
I agree. Let's get back to the phone lines here. Ben has been waiting patiently. Ben in Fond du Lac, you're live here on Brewers Extra Innings.
Hi, thank you for taking my call.
You got it.
My dad and I were at the game tonight, standing behind the first base dugout in the standing room only. We felt the electricity that rang through that stadium when Bowers and then Frelick after hit those home runs. Just thinking back, this team was something different with Coach Murphy coming in, bringing energy to a team with Counsell leaving, making a great call to put Bowers in, to hit that home run, having trusted him after a bad day in that first game. It just kind of stinks because, you go into that ninth inning. My dad and I are talking, how are we going to get tickets for next week? You put your best out there. There's only so much you can do. We trust Devin Williams. He's been our ace all year. He's one of the best in the league, if not the best. You put him against Alonso. It's a tough situation. It just doesn't go your way. But what do you think's the best way for us to build going forward, to continue to get back to this wild card, and then going forward find a way to get past it and continue on in the playoffs?
I think that's a good question. And, there are going to be some hard conversations when it comes to, all right, Willie's probably going to get a qualifying offer. He's probably not going to get a full-blown contract from the Brewers. Or maybe there'll be an offer and he rejects it, wants to test the open market, then you give him the qualifying offer. Then you've got 1 year of control left on Devin Williams. Do you do with him like you did with Josh Hader? You've got Brandon Woodruff coming back for probably 1 year. There is an option on the back end of that, a player option. We'll see what happens. You've got Rhys Hoskins probably opting in. You've got a young core of Terang and Ortiz up the middle. Mitchell, Perkins, Churio, Frelick in some capacity in the outfield. You've got 2 more years of William Contreras as well. There's still exciting pieces on the farm. Craig Yoho, Chad Patrick, Jacob Mizorowski. There are pieces coming. It's going to look a little different again next year, but nonetheless, I think it's going to look a little different, but still in the same way, kind of the same, just probably sans Willy Adames.
I think you hit it right on the head. I think the big thing is with Willie and whether you're going to have the opportunity to keep him or not. And when you talk about that leader on a team, that embodies his team more than anything, it is really Adames. And he'd be a great loss. But teams change every year. I think when you look at this organization, you look at what they have coming up in the minors. You look what they have with the young players that they have right here. This team won it from the beginning to the end. They were in first place. When you see what they did all year long and you see what they've accomplished, that's pretty special. How do you make it better? Well, you make it better by players getting better. Experience helps these young players. What happened this series hurts. They understand it. They know what they have to do. That's going to be the impetus for next year to go out and really, from day one, understand that, it's a long season. We've got to go out and we've got to play hard each and every day. And when next time we get that opportunity, we got to be successful.
Yeah, and I was just watching the dugout while the celebration was happening for the Mets, and the last guy to leave the top step was Brian Hudson. Guy left off the playoff roster for some roster concerns and for some pitchability concerns, but I thought this loss hurt him the most, especially since Devin's been a guy that's been stumping for him. And that also, I know Devin spoke to the media today too, so I want to tip my cap to Devin as well, because that's a classy thing, and
it is.
It's a professional. It's a hard thing to do, and I've got nothing but respect for Devin Williams, especially after doing that. It's a really hard thing to do. A couple of text here before we get to another break, and I got a few more calls here. I see Ray, Tony, Jim, Mitch, Keith, Luis. I see all you guys. I promise I'm going to get to you guys here in a moment. Got a lot of moving parts here. This one from Aaron in Illinois. Thank you for the kind words there, Aaron, as well. This is the team did more than a lot of us expected and should be even better next year. Thanks again. Talk to you in spring training. Go Crew. This one hurts more. Thanks for your coverage. Appreciate that one from the 920. I love this text from Brock in Sturgeon Bay. I was at Game 7 in 2018. I was there tonight. Both games I felt euphoria and depression. I've had a 20-game pack and drive 2.5 hours from Sturgeon Bay at least 10 times a year, and I go to at least one away series as well. Starting to wonder if I'll ever see a team in a World Series in my life. Hey, man, it's just like the guy down in Chicago said, as sure as God made green apples. Maybe we got to say, as sure as God made Miller Lite, the Brewers are going to be right back in the World Series one of these days. I'm telling you, I'm going to believe it, Brock. I really do. Also, I look forward to you potentially doing a Zoom. We'll talk about that as well, Brock. Appreciate your coverage and your listenership all season long. Let's get to one more call before we go to break. Ray, you've been waiting patiently. Ray in Springfield, you're live on Brewers Extra Innings.
Hey, Dom. Hey, Jerry. Great to hear both of you guys. Certainly a gut punch tonight, but I think we got to look at the season. You guys kind of mentioned it. They had a great season. I mean, who was to know that you put your best closer out there and things happen. I think the theme of this series to me was that was something that happens in the playoffs. Every mistake is magnified. I mean, there were some mistakes in Game 1. The Mets capitalized. You had the leadoff walk tonight by Williams, and the Mets capitalized. I mean, give them a ton of credit. But I want to focus on the positive, and that this is a good young team, and you're going to get Woodruff back next year. You may not have Adames, but boy, you got a really good core here and a great manager, and I think this team could be just as good next year as they were this year. And nobody expected them to do what they did this year, so I think there's optimism on the horizon, and hey, let's see what they can do in the off season. Maybe bring it in. You're going to have a healthy Yelich. Let's see what they can do in the off season.
Wow, yeah,
that's a
bring
great call.
Things in. So, thanks for a great year, guys.
Thank you, Ray. Appreciate your listenership, man. And yeah, you're right. I love turning the page and trying to find the optimist angle. If you all have been listening to me all year, you know I'm the glass half full kind of guy, sometimes to a fault, but that's okay. After a night like this, I think it really comes in handy. But nonetheless, trust me, this sucks still at the same time to lose this game because, man, I thought they had it. I really did.
When they fall a little bit short, it hurts. It hurts as a fan, and both as a player and as a fan, it hurts. You just, I feel so much for this team because you have a passion because they played so well all year long, and they did so many neat things. And you're right. They didn't have Woody, and they didn't have Christian, two guys that could have made a huge difference to this ball club. But you know what? You got to appreciate what they've done and the way they went about it. Now, you have to get better, because that's the only way other teams are going to get better. You have to get better. That's the only way you're going to have that opportunity. And I'll guarantee you, they're going to be feeling this when they go to spring training. That's going to be their number one goal.
You just call me short? I'm just kidding. We'll take a break. Come back with more. Tony, you're next in line. The line goes like this. Tony, Jim, Mitch, Keith, Luis, Bill, Charlie, Nate, David. See, we got a lot of people here, so all you guys toward the back of the line, please stay put. I'm going to get to everybody, as many as I can. I'll go as long as I need to, okay? I want to hear from everybody tonight. I really do appreciate everyone's fan. I do got to pay the bills, though, because Brewers Extra Innings is brought to you by Fifth Third Bank. With a local Milwaukee team, Fifth Third Bank also knows how to hit it out of the park. They've been serving businesses in the area for nearly 15 years, offering industry-specific expertise and local decision-making capabilities to help your business succeed. It's commercial banking value that only Fifth Third can deliver. Fifth Third Bank, National Association, member FDIC. All right, let's get back to a break, take a breather, reset. Back with more after this. 855-616-1620, 855-616-1620 on your home of the Brewers, 620 WTMJ.
Treat yourself to a new car at the International Autos Group this October and win big with savings up to $15,000, and 0% financing is available for 72 months. Every model in our 2,000 car inventory is priced to sell. The International Autos Group, Milwaukee, Waukesha, Sheboygan, and Brown Deer, or at IAAutogroup.com, where our ordinary needs to be extraordinary. Financing with approved credit, $13.88 per month per $1,000 financed on select models.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Brew October is sponsored by Delta Dental.
Welcome back. I'm Dom Catronio. Jerry Augustine is here with us as well, former Brewers pitcher. Brewers fall. The season is over. The Mets are moving on to Philadelphia. A couple of texts here, 855-616-1620, 855-616-1620. This one from Jerry in the Dells. My heart's been broken for 55 years. Nothing new tonight. Still, next April, I'll be with this team. The future is so bright. Tonight, so much pain. Appreciate your listenership, Jerry. Appreciate you all season long. Grow up. There can only be one World Series champion. Please quit whining. It was a great year. Excuses, The radio team can make a big difference, keeping fans from getting too freaking depressed. We lost. There's only one winner. All the rest of us are going to lose. It was a great year. I agree. It was a great year. Trust me, I'm going to be a glass half full guy, but we also got to be chameleons a little bit. We got to read the room, right? Some people want to sulk. We'll sulk with them. Some people want to be optimistic. Cool. You got Woody, you got Yelly, you got all these guys and all these pieces that you're excited about to come back. And tonight, one of those pieces, I think, I look at this bullpen tonight, man. I mean, we haven't even mentioned a guy's name that we need to mention. Tobias Myers. Holy
Absolutely.
cow. The story of the year, if you ask me.
You know, we talked a little bit about it last night, in the start. And his start before where they brought Jared Koenig in and had him start the game, and then Tobias Myers came in the game. He pitched 4 innings, gave up like 1 hit, no runs, and no walks, and had like 4 or 5 punch-outs in that time. You know, I like this stuff. When I come in, I like to speak to people and fans about the game of baseball. I look at the pitcher and what he's accomplished and what I think he's done and how he can get better and what he did out there. So when fans come to the game, they can watch and say, oh, yeah, he is. Tonight, from inning 1, from the first pitch, he was aggressive. He dominated. That was as much of a dominating performance as I've seen out of him all year. He threw 73% strikes, and he was really going right after the hitters. Why? Because, you know what? The Brewers gave him another opportunity to learn something. Learn something that where he had a little problem at the start of the game. He usually had a problem, maybe gave up a run or two. He had some problems with balls and strikes. Boy, he came out of that bullpen tonight. He didn't have that problem. That first inning, Lindor got the double. What to do? He just dominated the next 3 hitters. That's what he did, and that's what sometimes you do things throughout the season to help your players be better. I thought by that one time, just time before, bring him out of the bullpen after Jared started, really got him focused and say, yeah, come out, I've got to be aggressive and I got to throw strikes. He did that tonight.
Yeah, aside from that first inning, right, with the double from Lindor, and then aside from that, he threw one more pitch. I mean, he threw the rest of that first inning with a man in scoring position. He threw one more pitch the whole game with a runner in scoring position. That's dominance. That is. And this dude, again, was one of the first roster cuts from spring training. He's a rookie. He's on a 6th organization. And I was talking to Greg Matzik about this during the game, too, where it's like, look at the heroes at this point of the game when it was heading to the 9th. Okay, you got a guy on a 6th organization that the Brewers found and figured that they could patch him up pitching Game 3 of a do-or-die game. You got Jake Bauers on his 4th team in his first playoffs hitting a home run. Sal Frelick, sort of an undersized, still a first-rounder, but an undersized player that a lot of folks didn't think was a first-round caliber. And then furthermore, the bullpen, right? McGill, he was DFA'd. Mears, he's been on multiple teams and was traded for this year. Peralta was a young trade acquisition for the Brewers that they acquired. Devin Williams, homegrown, and Joe Ross, we talked about him yesterday. So, I mean, the bullpen that succeeded tonight, and at one point, if they had finished off the 9th inning today, it would have been 13 2/3 straight scoreless innings from the bullpen going back to Tuesday. I think that if you want to find a positive is that the Brewers' pitching machine is still churning at this point.
It is, and just the way they go about it, and they got guys that can do special things. You take a guy like McGill, who was really their stopper up until Devin came back, but then, you know, whatever you put him in, whatever situation you put him in, he's going to give the best you can. And I'll tell you what, I thought he was one of the keys when Murph brought him in yesterday for that ball game. He changed the whole complexion of the game. He got Lindor to fly out, and then he punched out the next 3, and he walked off that field and said, "Let's go!" Mm-hmm. You know, that's emotion. He changed the emotion of the ball game, and then the Brewers were able to come back and win it. So there's so many guys, like you said. Myers is just a really fun thing that I really enjoy watching. Why do you think he's successful? He's got a little bit different delivery. He comes straight over the top. He's kind of a different style of pitcher where most guys are 3/4. He comes over the top and he's able to stay back with his delivery, get on top of it, and gets that good downward plane. And when you see that 4-seam fastball, we talked about it a couple of starts ago. He's got that little hop to it, and boy, I tell you what, he's just been fantastic by commanding all his pitches, throwing strikes, no walks tonight. Pretty special.
Really special stuff from Tobias. I'm really happy for him. Let's get to Tony. You've been waiting patiently. Tony in Watertown, you've been live here on Brewers Extra Innings. Oh, no, do we not have Tony?
I know you don't have them, Dom.
Oh, there's Tony. Oh, sorry, Tony, we missed you at the very beginning of you there. Go ahead.
All good, all good. Thanks for taking the call. I know you don't have any answers, Dom, and I'm just looking, and I know nobody has them, but I think of when I was 8 years old, and Niger Morgan hit that ball back up the middle, and Gomez rounded third and scored, and the Brewers advanced. And I was 8 years old, and it built my love for the game of baseball that I still love today. And I sit here and I watch every single year the Brewers do the same thing, and it's not even frustration. It's true heartbreak to go and, like Augie said, lead the division from start to finish. With a team that was, 76.5 games was the projection. And it's heartbreaking to watch it every single year. And you think from a fan base, it could be a Tuesday night against the Rockies, and we're going to put 24,000 people plus in the stands. And every year, every night, we show up, and we keep going and going and going and going. And every year, we get stuck in the wild card, and we get that hot team that just snuck in on the last day, it seems like, and they come into Milwaukee and they send us home. And so I know you guys don't have the answers. I'll let you get to the next caller, but it just feels like not even frustration. It is heartbreak. It's heartbreak for the fans of Wisconsin year after year, and it hurts bad. And I just don't know where we go from here. It seemed like this young crew, they didn't know anything about the past, but now they just lived it. And now it's like, are we going into that cycle again? Thanks, guys.
Yeah, great call there. Appreciate it there, Tony. Thanks for your patience too, man. I think when it comes to thinking of Niger Morgan and that team, and that was a do or die win. The Brewers tonight was their 7th sudden death game. They've only won 2 of them. That was the last sudden death game that they've won. The other one you were a part of, 82, Game 5. Yeah, I don't think they're in a bad cycle by any means. But nonetheless, it feels like it, right? When you keep losing, it's like, well, show me that you're not. And I see that from the fans' perspective, but I think that, I'm been very honest with the fans all year long, and a lot of folks know this about me too. I'm not from here, okay? Like I'm not a local. I'm not the same. I don't want to say like skin in the game, but like the fact of the matter is, like Augie, you wore the jersey. I can never take that away from you or even relate to that. Or, talking about Tony, who was watching the 2011 series. I was living in Arizona at the time. I wasn't a Diamondbacks fan, don't worry. I definitely wasn't a Cardinals fan, I'll tell you that much, because that team, I don't want to talk about the 2011 Cardinals team. But the point I'm trying to make here is some of the teams that I've been a fan of, I'd do a lot of unspeakable things to have this run of success right now for the Brewers that they're on right now. And it's a you don't know what you got till it's gone type situation, and nobody wants to hear that after losing again in the first round, and I understand. But you're going to wake up one morning in 20 years and be like, man, you're explaining to somebody, and like how you explained it to maybe somebody who asks you, man, how great was 81 and 82? Or when somebody asks me about, hey, man, how great was it to cover the Brewers from 21 to 24 with Willie Adames there, man? It's like, man, let me tell you what. That's how we're going to remember it. It takes a long time to get there, but tonight's about, just win a game. And it's just like you want to win and you want to break a wall. And it's just that's how you're feeling right now.
I'll tell you, as a player, your fans, you feel it for your fans because we have the best fans of anywhere. I am born and raised here. I understand that, and everybody say I'm biased. I'm not biased. I think we have the best fans, and they're most diligently come out each and every year and they back this team. This is a team that came in that didn't have the high expectations, and they experienced something. In 1981, when we had the split season and we went up against the Yankees, we ended up losing Game 5 in New York. That spring training, no one said much after that game. There wasn't a lot said. Buck Rogers was our manager. We went. It was done. It was over. Everybody went home. Everybody had the idea what happened. Everybody was down because we thought we had a chance to do something special. Then next year we walked into spring training because we experienced it. We experienced the great things that we got from our fans here in Milwaukee. And I'm going to tell you, when every individual walked in that clubhouse, if you asked them the first thing, are you ready to go? And everyone would have said, World Series or bust. That's what we're going to do. We're going to the World Series this year. From day one, it was that way. And I think what you're going to get out of this team after experiencing something so successful that they did this year, they're going to walk into spring training. It's going to be a little bit different attitude. Murph's going to have a different attitude. Every player is going to have a different attitude. And these young kids coming in, they better get the attitude because that's the attitude they're going to have.
Win tonight. That's been the attitude all year long. Back to the phones, 855-616-1620, 855-616-1620. Jim in Bayview. Jim, you're live here on Brewers Extra Innings.
Hi, good evening. Well, first of all, hats off to you guys on your post-game show, because I've been listening all year long after the game's end, so I like you guys.
Thank you, Jim.
And, hats off to the manager of the team, and hats off to the team as a whole. They definitely did way more than anybody thought going in, so I'm with all that for sure. But I actually went to the World Series games years ago and the Angel games in '82, and my son, he thinks there's some kind of curse going on with the Brewers, and I'm wondering, but as far as what happened tonight, I really hate to say it, but this Devin Williams, he was fresh. He only came back in September, basically. Yeah. He came in and he blew the game for us, and he blew the series for us. So I'm blaming him and him only. And I also think he is never pitching for the Brewers again.
Yeah,
that's my prediction.
I hear you, Jim. I think you're not far off on the prediction that he may not pitch for the Brewers again, because, again, 1 year of control, trade, teams are always looking for relievers and closers and see what happens beyond that. I think you're on the money there. And then, yeah, it's easy to pin the ninth inning to Devin for what happened. And, I give him the props to say he took it like a man. He stood up there and said, yeah, it sucks to blow it for the team. And it's a really empty feeling. And loss, there's a winner and a loser every single night, and tonight Devin was the loser.
Yeah, I think you put it right when you said it. When I came in, I'm a big proponent of after the sixth inning, when you walk a guy. When I was at UWM, I bring in a reliever, you walk a guy, you're out of the game. That's the way I manage, because I think you win by making teams earn, and that's one thing that this club did all year. Make them earn their runs. But after he walked Lindor, he struck out Vientos. Is that
Vientos? Yeah.
Vientos. I'm gonna tell you what. That was dominant how he struck him out. I said we're right back in it now. And then Nemo got the 0-2 or 1-2 pitch and hit that ball back up the middle. He stayed back on the ball, and he was doing what this team I thought was going to do off of Devin when I saw him their approach. Try to stay back on that changeup and hit the ball the opposite way, and he throws it away. And that's exactly what happened, and it's how they got beat. But Devin's he threw the ball all season long so well. Tonight he just didn't have good command of that fastball. He was up in the zone on a fastball, just missing on it, and it caused him a little problem because he got back behind in the counts, and then he had to make a good pitch.
All right, I'm going to get to one more call before the break. Mitch, stay on for a second. After you, I've got Keith, Bill, Charlie, Nate, David. I see all you guys on the line. I'm going to get into Mitch here, and then we're going to go to a break. So Mitch in Milwaukee, you're live here on Brewers Extra Innings.
Hey, Dom and Augie. I want to start it off on a positive note. I appreciate both of you guys so much. I listen every single night. Dom, I listen to you on Locked On Brewers every single day. Augie, I remember Fox Sports Wisconsin watching you post-game show. You are an integral part of my childhood with my dad. Loved watching you. Loved listening to both of you guys. Now I'm going to get to how I really feel about this game. And I think the number one thing, obviously, I think heartbreak's a great word about it. But then I listened to Murph's comments, and the first thing he talks about is payroll and injuries. We're not talking about payroll every single game we lost and lose in the regular season. I don't need to be reminded that we have one of the lowest payrolls in baseball every single year. I don't need to be reminded that. I know that. I know the team that we field. The expectations change when the season starts and when you start playing baseball. And the way this team played, this was a great team. I love this team. I have season tickets. I support this team every day. And to see them go out so lifeless every single year is so frustrating. It's so frustrating because I feel like there's so many people. There's about 75% of Wisconsin fans and Brewers fans that are just happy to be there. And I think that trickles down to our team. That you have a manager that's talking about payroll, and we have to play the underdog card every single year. I don't think that needs to be the case. I think there's a psychological thing that is obviously not translating to the team and on the field, and it's really disappointing because anyone else, I don't know if other fans have Twitter or other people have other friends that are fans of other teams in the MLB, but they don't respect us in the playoffs. They think we're a fraudulent team every year we get in the playoffs, and it's upsetting to see that because I know how good this team is. I know how hard they bust their butt all year, and every single year
We are wire to wire, as they said all this year, one of the best teams in baseball, but our season's eliminated either 2 games later or 3 games later. And it's really frustrating to watch, and I just really don't have an answer for it, other than I don't want our manager talking about payroll as soon as we lose a heartbreaking loss like that. I want them to own that up. I want them to talk about why they lost. I'm not blaming this on Devin. Devin's one of the best closing pitchers in baseball. And with that being said, I think we should trade him, but I don't think anyone should pay any relievers any big bucks. You can look at Josh Hader signing and relate that back. But it's very frustrating to hear them talk about payroll, talk about us being underdogs. This team's so talented. The fans put so much into it. The organization does. We have the best broadcasting crew. We have the best radio crew. We have such quality people on this thing that we deserve more after every single year than just hearing that we are the shucks Brewers and happy to be there. I'm sick of that. I'm happy to be there. I love the 82 team. I love them to death, but I don't want to stop celebrating the 82 team. I want to celebrate another team with the 82 team. This is something that they need to change psychologically, organizationally, and I think you guys got to do it too. And I love you guys. Mitch.
Time out. Now you're rambling. I don't want you to say something you regret, buddy. I appreciate your listenership, but I do think that's a fair criticism. Nobody wants to hear the payroll after losing. I think Murph should know better than that, and I think he does know better than that. He'll learn that after tonight. You're here, and nobody cares that your payroll is less than the Mets. You were 2 outs away from winning. Nobody cares. And I hear what Mitch is saying there. I get it 100%. And I said it at the top of the show. This team was the team I thought was going to finally win a series. They didn't get it done. It's not because of their payroll. And it's not because, the Mets have to figure out if they want to pay Pete Alonso. And it's like, okay, they still escape by the skin of their teeth with the best team that money could buy, allegedly.
That's right.
I think that kind of plays into it. There is no perfect way. Why haven't the Dodgers won it every single year? Why haven't the Mets won it every single year? Why haven't the Yankees won it every single year? Money's not a guarantee, man. It's just not. And it's just there are multiple ways to do it. There are multiple ways to color in the lines. The Brewers think that their pack of crayons is better than maybe the Sharpies that the Mets are using. But nonetheless, there are multiple ways to do it. But I agree with Mitch. I don't want to hear payroll on the day like today. But yeah, I got nothing else to say there.
Yeah, it's something I never, you know what, to tell you the truth, I never think about payroll. I think about the team.
Yeah.
And I love the Brewers because I'm from Wisconsin, and it just because I play here isn't why I'm a fan. It's because I love the game of baseball. I love teaching the baseball. I love talking about the game of baseball. When I talk about this year's team, never once did I ever worry about how much someone was getting paid or who was getting paid or what it was going. I was really more excited about their performance, each guy learning a little bit about themselves, coming through in good spots and knowing when to do certain things, when to come in the game and go right after hitters, and when to play the good solid defense. We had the best defensive team in the game of baseball.
Yeah.
No doubt. That's a real plus. It's something you grow on, and you got one of the best pitching staffs. Boy, offensively, you could have been a little bit better. No question. Last month we didn't swing the bat like we did, but this is a good team, and they're going to get better. And I'll tell you what, I think there's a great future, and I think, boy, we're going to have a time when we're going to be having a parade down the Michigan Avenue because it's going to be a lot of fun.
It will be fun. Do you want to stay for one more, or do you want to get out of here?
I'll stay
it's just going to be a bunch of callers here. We got
one more. I'll stay, and then I'm going to go to bed.
All right, here's the list right now. Keith, Bill. We've got. Let me look here. We got Keith, Bill, Charlie, Nate, David, Doug, Mike. I see all you guys on the line. I'm going to take another breather. We're going to reset. I got Matzik in the bullpen. We're going to figure out what we're going to do here. Dom and Augie rolling on. We're still going. Brewers fall tonight. 855-616-1620. 855-616-1620 on your home of the Brewers. 620 WTMJ.
For your fellow fanatics and your number one fans. For your game day compatriots and your everyday companions. For your personal cheerleaders and your personal heroes. For the reasons you smile, get covered with dental and vision insurance from Delta Dental of Wisconsin and Delta Vision. Learn more at deltadentalwi.com today.
When you work with us, you'll know what you're going to get. And most importantly, you'll know exactly what you're going to pay us to list and sell your home. Talk to any Benefit Realty agent and ask about our commission. You will always get the same answer. You may find that others aren't ready to be as straightforward as we are right off the bat. They may try to meet with you first, and from there, you'll probably have to haggle your commission. And if you're lucky, you might be able to get them to reduce their commission to what we charge. But who wants that? Benefit Realty is going to make this easy for you with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission. And we even one-up it from there. We cap our commission so that no matter what size property you're selling for the listing side of your sale, your savings will be substantial. And if you're selling a luxury portfolio kind of home, substantial is an understatement. And finally, if you're not happy at any time with the service you're getting, we won't hold you to the term of your contract. This is Angela Calais with Benefit Realty, where you pay less for full service. Benefit-realty.com.
Brew October is sponsored by Delta Dental.
All right, rolling on. I'm Dom Cotroneo. Jerry Augustine is here. Brewers Extra Innings is brought to you by Cider Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. Trust in your family's comfort at home all year long with Cider, and there's still time for your annual furnace tune-up, and you can save $20 off when you mention this offer. You can book your appointment today at Cider, SEIDER.com. Families helping families since 1912. All right, Keith, you've been waiting patiently. Keith in Milwaukee, you are live here on Brewers Extra Innings.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I really enjoy your show. I try to tune in wherever I am. But, hey, here's my point. I think the manager, Murphy, I blame him for this loss. And I'm going to piggyback a little bit on what an earlier caller, Mark, said. I don't think the manager could handle the moment. He was in way over his head. And I'm going to tell you why I think that. In Game 1, he pitches Peralta. We know Freddie is not good for more than 4 innings. He's prone to give up home runs and multiple hits and multiple scores. We got by that with 4 innings from him. Then he brings in Payamps, who's been struggling since before All-Star break when he went out with something personal in his life. Now, he has not been the same pitcher he was last year.
He had a 107 ERA in the second half, but you can keep going.
But he's been hit. He hasn't been
a 107 ERA, buddy.
And I know what his numbers say, but that's not what the games are showing when he's gotten bombed and we've had to take him out in these games. And the same thing for Ashby. I guess you're going to tell me that about him.
That was his first clunker as a reliever.
In a game one, in a short series like this, it would seem to me like you want your best pitchers out there, like Koenig and McGill. Behind Peralta, he gave up 3 or 4 runs in the first one to try and get the first game and put the pressure on the Mets. Then he also uses up Savali for 3 innings, and now Savali's not available for Game 2. And Savali's probably been our best starting pitcher, giving us the best first 4 innings probably since he's arrived, give or take a game or 2 that was bad. Again,
I'll give you that one on Savali not being used with the lead, but I just want to push back. I think you've got a confusion of best relievers or not. I think it was a matter of Payamps and Ashby did not execute. I mean, Ashby, as a reliever, when he was on this team, a 1.37, 19 2/3 innings, 28 strikeouts, and 3 walks. I'm not going to let you believe that that's not a good pitcher and that's not one of the best options for the Brewers in the middle of the game.
Yeah. I'm not saying I don't go by the number. I go by what you do in the crunch. And I wouldn't have put Ashby in or Payamps because they've been struggling. I would have gone with Koenig and McGill. Then you go Game 2 and you got Montas starting, and you know Montas isn't good for more than 3 innings before he gets bombed like Freddie. And that's
you know what, Keith, we disagree because I think I'm okay with disagreeing with you here, Keith, because, look, Frankie gave up 1 earned run, and then tonight he gets Tobias out of 5 innings. He goes to McGill early, maybe earlier than people thought. McGill shuts the door. Mears shuts the door. Freddie shuts the door. Devin didn't execute. I think you're mixing up manager decisions with a lack of execution.
No. I watch every game.
So do I. So that's why I don't know where you're getting at this with Yoel Payamps and Aaron Ashby, man. We're going to disagree, and I'm going to cut you off because if you're going to say that a guy is not good when the numbers tell you he's good, I'm not going to listen to that. So you're cut. I'm sorry.
What about tonight with Myers? Can I ask you a question about that?
Sure.
Okay. So here's the game. Final game, do or die, right? Myers pitched like hell. He only had a pitch count of 63, I believe, something like that, at the end of 5 innings. And he was on fire that last inning. He was mowing them down. In a crucial game 3, why do you take out a pitcher that's electric?
Here's why. Because you had McGill.
Because
Here's the thing. I'll give you more numbers. I know you don't want to hear it. Third time through the order. Average goes up by 80 points with Tobias. Goes up by 200 points of OPS. Of the home runs he'd allow, 4 of them have come in the third time through. He has rarely gone a third time through. And again, if you're going to criticize, if you're talking about we know Freddie and Frankie give up homers after the third and fourth inning, it's because we have numbers to prove that, right? We have numbers to prove that Tobias struggles a third time through, and the guy that you wanted to come in like Miguel or Koenig or whoever, Miguel came in and did his job, so I can't pick any nits with that decision.
He did. But here's my other thing. Why not keep going with McGill when he's hot, too? I mean, we were
some guys aren't built for multiple innings, and I got to cut you off here, Keith, because I got more guys in line. I appreciate your passion, man. I really do. I love this. I could go back and forth all day long on this. I don't like being the sports talk down because I think you came in with actual stuff that you wanted to talk about, and I really do appreciate that, Keith, but we're going to agree to disagree on that, and quite frankly, I appreciate you. Thank you for listening. I've got to get to other callers, and I thank you all season long. I'm going to move on, and I'm a little shocked, like, we watched the same thing, right, Augie, of Yoel and Ashby this year, right? You got my back here, right?
I do. When I'm coming to game, that's what they were set up to do. The way they had it set up, they set up what Murph did over the last 2 weeks of the season. He set every pitcher up how he was going to use them in the playoffs. Everybody had their opportunities. They knew exactly what they were going to do, how they were going to use them, and everything was going as planned. Everybody was throwing the ball really extremely well, and every once in a while someone has a bad outing, or it does happen. It's just the way it is, but. Our pitching staff was set up perfectly. I thought they did a great job. I thought Murph did an awesome job yesterday by bringing in McGill. I thought it changed the complexion of the game is one reason why we won the game. And I thought bringing him in today was the same thing. I would have done the exact same thing. But he's not a multi-inning guy. He's a one-inning guy. That's what he's on this ball club for, and that's what he does, and he does it very well. So I back what you were saying. The stats stay for it. You go every once in a while. You got to go with the analytics and say, here's what usually happens. And then when you're in a situation, do or die, you got to go with it.
I'm sorry. 28 strikeouts in 19 2/3 innings, and only 3 earned runs in 19 2/3. I mean, like that's Ashby. He didn't execute. He didn't pitch well yesterday. Or if Payamps covers first, we're not even talking about this either, right?
That's right.
There are a lot of other things that were failed execution moments that aren't. And again, I thought the manager tonight had a great game. I really did. How hard do you think it was for him to go tap Rhys Hoskins on the shoulder and say, I'm bringing in Bowers? And then, one of your pillars, one of the guys you've leaned on all year long, I'm bringing in Bowers. And then Bowers goes yard, right? Like, you gotta recognize that as a moment like, wow, it worked.
It is. I agree. I think Murphy's made some really great moves and stayed in schedule. How they set this thing up. I think this coaching staff has done an awesome job all season long in putting people in the right place to be successful. That's your job. If you put them in a place to be successful, you're going to be successful. Is it going to work out every time? No. But more than often, it's going to be successful. And I thought the moves that Murph made in this playoffs were excellent.
I agree. Let's get back to the phone lines. I'm going to hesitate now. I'm going to get to Bill. I'm just kidding. I appreciate the call there, Keith. I really do.
That was a great call.
Bill in New Berlin. Bill, you're live on Brewers Extra Innings.
Hey, guys. I'm so happy I got on here. I'd like to bring a little different perspective. I'm a 68-year-old to soon-be 69-year-old guy. Been a baseball fan in Milwaukee since I was 5. And seen a lot, done a lot, been there a lot. Like to bring a little different perspective. I don't like to analyze any games, any series, anything like that. But what my perspective is since the Brewers came to Milwaukee, how do we exercise 1982?
You got a live chicken? Anybody got a live chicken? Candlesticks make a nice gift.
There are guys from that team that are dying, Tom and Jerry. And Jerry, you used to be my insurance agent back in the day, but
Wow.
with AmFam. But so that goes way back into the 70s. But I that's my perspective, because I was there last night with all that excitement with my son-in-law and my 12-year-old grandson, and we were going nuts. And I was going nuts tonight at home, and I was texting, my son and my grandson, and so excited. And but my I don't want to just get into all this goofy stuff, about all the other callers, and I get all that, the analytics and all this stuff. But I'm an old school guy, and I just want Milwaukee to get past 1982 and go on to the future for the next generation.
I promise you, everybody in that front office is trying to figure that out. It's a great speech there. Appreciate it, Bill. And I think that, you guys came so close in 82, and it's an all too familiar feeling right now for the Brewers and for its fans. And I think, man, it's just to whenever you see those graphics right on social media, or if somebody shares it with you because they think they're so cute, they're so funny, or some Cubs fan in your life that you really need to keep out of your life. But anyway, the graphic that always comes, never won World Series. And it's just you're just grinding your teeth, and you're just white knuckle, and you're just and quite frankly, it hurts more right now because you're good.
That's
whereas
right.
Look, with all due respect, the Rockies, you got no shot right now. The Rays, I don't know when that's going to happen. Maybe one day. Padres feel like they have a good shot right now. They lost their only World Series appearance. The Guardians haven't won since 42, but they've won a World Series. Then you've got, you just got some flukes on there, too, that are just really? They got one? Diamondbacks an 0-1 off Mariano Rivera. Really? They got one? Right? And it's just and Mariners, and they've been through some pain, too, man. I tell you what. And it's just until you see that number change to a 1, man, and we see that parade we're talking about, Wisconsin Avenue, it's just not, everything's going to be short.
I remember when Craig Counsell came here, and he made a comment once or several times, and he didn't mean it. I think people took it the wrong way, maybe. He said, I'm here to make people forget about 82. And he wasn't here to say, hey, let's forget about history. It was here to say, I want to go to a World Series. I want to win a World Series for this organization, for this city, the state, the team. And some people felt bad about it. Some of my former teammates from the 82 guys said, what is this guy talking about? What's he going to forget us? Come on, that's not going to happen. That was a special group of guys. But, when you really look at it, he was here because, you know why? You want to win a World Series. You want to do something special. You want to build tradition. You want the history of this organization to be special. And that is. And has it been a while since we've been back to World Series? Yeah. Have we won a World Series? Not since 57. But I'm going to tell you what. It's going to happen. This is a good ball club. I'm going to tell you, they're going to learn from what they did this year. And next year, it's about having that premonition. When you come in, nothing short of winning a World Series is that's the most important thing. It's going to be interesting to watch.
Charlie, Nate, David, Doug, Mike, I see you guys on the line. I'm going to get to you, but I want to say goodbye to Augie here real quick. Augie, it's been a pleasure, man. I really do appreciate you being a team player with us here on WTMJ, and your insight and analysis. You can bring things that, quite frankly, Greg and I can't. You play between those lines. I'm sitting up here in the cheap seat. So appreciate you all season long, my friend, and thank you, and hope to see you next year.
Wow, it's great. This has been fun. The one thing I do is I love talking the game of baseball. I talk it a little bit differently than most people do, but I love talking because I understand it and what makes someone better, that what's in the inside of that player to make him better and what he goes through. That's what I like to do. And to come and be with you here, that brings up all these analytic things and brings all these statistics, helps me to realize that, say, you know what? this game is so awesome. There's something to look at. And boy, we sit here and we talk about it. We talk about it for an hour. I leave here and I said, hey, that was a lot of fun. I've enjoyed being here with you. This has been very, very special. I've done this for a number of years, but I'll tell you what, this was a special year. And I'm going to tell you what, it's going to get better and better as we go along.
I agree. Jerry Augustine, former Brewers pitcher, here with us on WTMJ. We're grateful to have you here. We've heard your name between the lines, and now we've heard you here on the postgame shows. Thank you, Augie.
Great being with you.
All right, pleasure. I'll get to these. I'm way behind on texts. I'm way behind on calls. Greg Matzek's in the bullpen. He had a very emotional time down in the clubhouse. We'll talk about that next. Again, we're going till the cows come home, so we're rolling. 855-616-1620, 855-616-1620. Charlie, Nate, David, Doug, Mike, I see you guys on the line. Stay with me. I appreciate your patience. More after this on WTMJ.
You've probably heard about employee stock ownership plans before, but what separates Fifth Third Bank from others when it comes to these plans? A succession plan that benefits business owners and employees. Full and partial sales, second stage transactions, repurchase obligation financing, and seller note refinancing. ESOPs can offer tax advantages, increased liquidity, employee incentives, and overall diversification of net worth to help your company plan for the future. Fifth Third Bank, National Association. Custom solutions built around your goals. Member FDIC.
Hi, folks. This is Hank Albert, owner of BBC Lighting. With shorter days in the forecast, brighten up now with top quality lighting and ceiling fans at unbeatable prices. At our award-winning showroom, you'll see our new display of Visual Comfort brand lighting along with their newest LED lights and ceiling fans. We carry every major brand, and our prices are the lowest. I guarantee it. If it's lampshades or repairs you need, we do all that too. There's something for everyone at BBC, including fun for the kids and our famous free popcorn. BBC is open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 and on Saturdays from 10 to 4. We're located at 20th and St. Paul Avenue, across from Sobelman's and Bachman Furniture, all near the Potawatomi Casino. Stay safe and healthy, my friends.
Brew October is sponsored by Delta Dental.
Welcome back. I got a reliever out of the bullpen. Greg Matzek has joined us. I'm Dom Catronio. 855-616-1620, 855-616-1620. Charlie, you're on deck. Nate, you're in the hole. Then David, Doug, and Mike, you're down the lineup here right now. Greg, you just got back from the clubhouse, and we're starting to see some, reporting from the writers trickle out now on social media. And I just want to kind of get your firsthand accounts of what you saw, what the mood. I mean, obviously dejected to say the least, but anything else that caught your eye?
It started off like a normal, disappointing postseason clubhouse. And unfortunately, I've been in that clubhouse many a times when the season has come to an end, and all the champagne popping and the beer spraying that hit every corner of that clubhouse a couple of weeks ago celebrating a division title turned into bro hugs, right? Yeah. Season over, side conversations, muttering, and it took a while before anybody laughed. Talked to Reese Hoskins, talked to Devin Williams, who's shouldering the load of this loss, putting it on his shoulders. Teammates are standing behind him saying, look, he's the best in the game, he just had an off night. And then I waited for Willy Adames, because to me that is the biggest offseason question when it comes to the roster. What happens? And the Brewers have reportedly made a lucrative offer his way. Adames' camp turned it down. They held on to him. So I asked if he felt he played his last game as a member of the Brewers. And he said all the right things. I don't know. I want to be back. I love this team. It's a special group. And when I was waiting for Adames, I looked into Tony Migliacio's office, which is in the clubhouse. It's the only closed-door office in the general clubhouse area where media can see. And in it, behind the closed doors and behind the blinds, was Christian Yelich, Bob Uecker, and Judy Uecker. Mm-hmm. And they were in there for quite a while. And shortly thereafter, Robin Yount and his wife joined. This is almost an hour after the game. Bob Uecker is still in the clubhouse, and so is his great friend Robin Yount. And I noticed their conversation. Yelly came out eventually as Adames was coming out from his end of the locker room after showering and talking with Freddie and some others. We started talking to Willie, and he started tearing up. He said, Bob made me cry. He was talking to all of us, and Bob was shaking everybody's hand. He was hugging absolutely everybody in sight as he made his way around the clubhouse. We talked to Willie for a little bit, and I kind of let what he said sink in. And then Christian stood at his locker, and a few members of the media, and I'm sure you're seeing it on social media with Adam McCalvey was there, Todd Rosiak, Kurt Hogue, myself, and a couple of others. And I've never seen Christian quite like this. I sensed disappointment from Christian, and I saw him choke up in Atlanta a few years ago when Josh Hader gave up a home run to Freddie Freeman to left center field, and that season ended rather abruptly. Yelich was very disappointed in the season he had. I've never seen him flat out crying in the locker room or clubhouse after a game. And he was. And he was crying because of his conversation with Bob Uecker. And he couldn't get words out. I've never seen Yelly quite like this. Tears are streaming down his face as he's referencing the legend, saying he's still here. He's still over there. And, of course, Bob is his usual jovial self. Nothing's been made official at all in the public. But my feeling walking out of that clubhouse is that this team wanted so badly to win for each other. They wanted so badly to win for this city. And they wanted, maybe more so badly to win for Bob.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Yelly even brought that up on our clinch post-game show. A guy that can't even suit up right now because of his back surgery. And when I pulled him aside and had him on the program for a few minutes, and one of the things I just asked him about is like, man, what's this mean to you and how great all this is? And unprompted, he said, we got to win one for Bob. We just got to win one for Bob. And obviously they came up short this year, and it stings, and I know a lot of fans feel the same way, man. And Bob would deflect or make a joke or just make a rip about it. It's like, well, I got one as a player and, 0 for whatever as a broadcaster. And it's just, life ain't fair sometimes, man. It really ain't. And, life's unknown. We're blessed to have any day that we get with Bob Uecker, quite frankly, to be, I think you and I both dream to be 90 years old and have the wits and have the humor and have the relationships that man has. And just the present is so precious, and it always sucks in the moment, not only to lose, but to, like Yelly, to see you can just, it kind of hits you, I bet, in all one wave of emotion.
In typical rhythm, and this is part of my experience, and again, this is covering the team for, well over a decade, going on 20 years, as a matter of fact, closer to 25 now. Jeez, that went fast.
Woo.
I've never seen Bob in the clubhouse for quite that long after a season has ended. His typical rhythm is to come back the next day. When players are clearing out their lockers, he'll show up, he'll hang out for a little bit, and then kind of be on his way. I thought it was very telling that he was hanging out in that clubhouse. He was still in it when I left, and so was Robin.
Yeah,
one of his best friends on this planet was there with him. That's a telling sign to me. Tonight may have been his last game broadcasting for the Brewers radio network. I don't know. Nothing's official on that at all. And if Bob wants the mic, he can have the mic.
Amen.
And he's earned that. But watching what I watched in the clubhouse, I think that feeling was maybe settling in to folks that we spoke with.
I agree. Yeah. It's an institution, man. And we'll let that day come when it comes. But yeah, it was good to have him in the ballpark again tonight. I know he hadn't worked the last 2 nights. He did the pregame show yesterday. To have him on the call again tonight. And I know Jeff had the home runs, but unfortunately, Uke had to have the 9th inning. And you're thinking they're moving on, and it didn't happen that way. Otherwise, as we move off Uke real quick, then we'll get to Charlie, Nate, and David and you guys. But you talked to Willie, and you said he said all the right things. Did you get a sense of what the future holds for him?
I've talked to people in the know about this stuff, and I've had people explain to me that the Brewers have made a 9-figure deal offer to Willie, and this was not this year. This was prior to the season, and their camp decided to pause on that. And he had a fantastic season, and he's a fantastic leader. Do I think it was his last game as a Brewer? I do, and I think you're likely looking at a Bryce Terang or Joey Ortiz playing shortstop next year. I think it says a lot about what the Brewers feel about Willie that they did not explore a trade for him. That going back to the start of spring training, Willie mentioned this, they told me they weren't going to trade me at the start of spring training. And they stayed with that. I think they were bit by the Hader thing, right? They didn't want a Hader 2.0 to kind of deflate this clubhouse, knowing that he might get away for nothing. Hey, that's kind of how it works sometimes. They did the right thing riding out Willie. He said the right things. I want to be back. We'll see. I really don't know. Right? Those were kind of the catchphrases from Willie. But I do believe this. He genuinely loves being a part of this Milwaukee Brewers franchise. He genuinely loves it, and he loves this group. He said it was the most fun he ever had playing baseball. He appreciates everything Milwaukee has provided for him, appreciates the fan base, everything. Said all the right things, and I believe him. I really do believe him. But if you're asking me, did he play his last game as a member of the Brewers tonight? I think he did. I really think he did.
I think so, too. And, we'll look back on these great 3.5 years of him, and I'll never forget somebody who remained unnamed. When they made the trade for Adames, and he saw his numbers, and he saw his line, and somebody said to me, so he's Arcia. We just cut Arcia, and we just got another Arcia. So I think this guy's going to be more than that. We'll see. I think he's got some potential, and former number 1 prospect, all this stuff. Man, that person came up to me later that year and said, whoo, was I wrong.
Yeah, you traded J.P. Fireisen for that? I remember his splits home and road were totally crazy. Nothing made sense about it. And all he did was produce and provide a jolt of life and energy into the clubhouse. A really fantastic Brewer for his time. I hope it continues, but my gut feeling says it's come to an end.
Yeah. All right. You want to take a couple calls with me?
Sure.
You want to hang out?
We'll hang on.
All right. Charlie, you've been waiting for a while. Charlie in Waukesha. You're live here on Brewers Extra Innings.
Hi, thanks, Don, for taking my call. I think the stat that will stand out tonight and what's the most frustrating as you look at the details of the game, 9 at-bats with runners in scoring position, Myers pitching great, felt like time after time, inning after inning, they had a chance to really solidify the momentum from last night, build on that, and run away with this. And just in those 9 at-bats, 0 hits. When you go 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position and you leave the door open, things like the 9th inning happen. That's baseball, and that's what makes this one, to me, especially frustrating. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, that's a great call. Great call, Charlie. And a couple of texts had mentioned that as well. Sorry I didn't get to those sooner. And 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position is one culprit. Another culprit, I know we just waxed poetic about Willie. 1 for 4 tonight with an infield hit and a stolen base and 2 strikeouts. Rhys Hoskins, 0 for 2. He got pinch hit for. William Contreras, I know he's dealing with a knee, 0 for 4 with a strikeout. Joey Ortiz went 0 for in the series. There's a lot of offense to shoulder the blame right now.
Yeah, no, I kind of felt that's how the series was going to go with tough left-handed pitching.
It's the playoffs. You're going to face tough arms no matter what.
And you're going to get weird things happening at weird times, right? You're going to get that 4th inning high-leverage reliever coming out of the Brewers' bullpen. The Mets' offense was really nothing to speak of either for the bulk of this series. That lineup that has legit power, MVP caliber talent, home run hitting champions from years past, that is a legit lineup. They can do damage. And they scored the bulk of their runs in this series in kind of a fluky inning that was perpetuated by a couple of bad mistakes made by the Brewers and some unearned runs. That was ultimately a game-shifting inning, that 5-run inning a couple of nights ago, but there was not much margin for error really for either team. And as we were talking about Tobias Myers tonight, who was fantastic. He was absolutely fantastic. You could not have asked for a better start. Jose Quintana was matching him.
Yeah.
Right? And in times that Quintana ended up in even the hint of a jam, he found a way to pitch out of it. Right? And he is calm as can be on the mound. And finally, they got to the bullpen. Okay, here we go. The Brewers were able to make a dent on the scoreboard. They had everything set up the way they wanted to tonight. More offense would have been great. I felt it was going to be tough to come by in an elimination game. It really was for both teams. Pat Murphy pulled every lever correctly tonight.
I agree. I thought
what else did he expect in the 9th, right? Joe Ross to come out and close things out, right? You go to Devin. You have to.
Top of the order, their best, your best. This is the playoffs. Buckle up.
And it didn't work, unfortunately, and it stings, right? And Pat Murphy, if you asked him, would he do it any differently? No. 100 times out of 100, he would not make a different move.
Same here, 100%. Let's take one more caller before we get you out of here, Greg. Nate in Pewaukee, you've been waiting patiently. Nate in Pewaukee, you're live here on Brewers Extra Innings.
Hey, Dom and Greg, I appreciate you taking my call.
You got
Can
it.
you hear me? All right, awesome. So, hey, I'm going to take a little bit different take on this game. I think if any of us thought that we'd be going to Devin Williams with a 2-run lead in the 9th inning, we'd be happy with that, right? We would have taken that when the game started. Right. for sure. No doubt about it. I've been a long-time baseball coach. I was hoping Jerry would still be on because my kid played for UWM. And
Awesome.
I feel like I know the game pretty well. And I had tons of texts going on with my good buddies. And I felt like going into the game, I'm not going to blame the manager because I think he's been amazing the whole season. I thought he managed the pitching staff perfectly tonight. You couldn't ask for anything better. I'm going to go back to the approach that we had against a guy that's topping out at 92 miles an hour. You're not going to get beat at the major league level on a 92-mile-an-hour fastball. And we swung at so many bad pitches out of the zone, and we were looking to pull the ball the entire game against a guy who was throwing – his average pitch, I bet, was 86 miles an hour the whole game. And I'm texting my buddies. I'm saying, I hate the approach. We're swinging stuff out of the zone. We're trying to pull everything. We could have been up 2-0 before we had one dramatic homer, which I was expecting tonight, and maybe had a 3 or 4 run lead going into the 8th or the 9th inning. I thought our approach at the plate the first 6 innings, and I don't know who you blame for that, but I would say in batting practice, let's practice hitting the ball to the opposite field, and because we know he's not going to beat us with his fastball. And that's what killed me in the game as I'm watching. I'm like, we could have manufactured 1 or 2 runs in those first 4 or 5 innings and had a 2-run lead and had the dramatic homer and been up 3 or 4 instead of 2. And I think it's a different game. That's my take on the game. I'm not even going to bring up the defense in the first game, the lack of stolen bases the first 2.5 games, right? I'm bringing up our approach at the plate against a crafty lefty that throws nothing but junk the whole series or the whole game. And we were looking to pull everything against him. If you look back at the tape, we had 20 bad swings, 25 bad swings out of 90 pitches. That's just my take on the game.
I hear you, Nate. I think it gets frustrating when you see the velocity number. Like, how can you not hit that? I get that. But it's like, you and I talked before the game, too, and I wanted to make something clear. Over his last 7 starts, Jose Quintana has a 0.74 ERA. This isn't some guy they picked up off the street. And the Brewers fans have seen prime Jose Quintana with those Cubs teams, too. And he's finding that prime again. And the reason why, Nate kind of said it there. Appreciate the call, Nate. Crafty lefty. What's crafty about it? You're off balance, and you never know what's coming. And I thought his changeup was excellent tonight. I think I've said this before. I'll say it again. I'm blue in the face. Brewers fans should know what good pitching looks like and what bad offense looks like. That was good pitching in combination with a little bad offense. I get that. There's a little bit. But I thought if you look at it on a scale, right, I thought this was leaning more toward great pitching by a guy that has been white hot in the second half. Yeah,
it looks inviting, and then all of a sudden it's bouncing, and you thought it was coming in straight.
Remember
right?
Prime Hendricks in 15, 16, 17 with the Cubs, how frustrating those games were?
You think about this series, and just to kind of build off Nate's points, the guys who are probably most adept at going the other way, you saw it. Jackson Churio went the other way, hit 2 home runs. Bryce Terang had 3 doubles. I think all of them were hit to left field. And Sal Frelick tonight, it hit to kind of get things moving. In the final inning was a solid single line drive to left field. So, there are guys who can take that approach. I don't pretend that Gary Sanchez is going to be a opposite field power hitter. He's certainly strong enough, but he is a pull-happy hitter. That's just kind of how he is. So you throw a little bit of junk on the outside, and you try and get him to pull that, and he's going to beat it into the dirt, or he's going to strike out. They were able to get him a little bit on that tonight. So I get it. I think the Brewers have a handful of players who kind of put that approach in play. We saw a few of them tonight, but not enough production with runners in scoring positions. Leadoff doubles, stranded at second, though, those are painful.
Very, very painful. Greg, it's painful to say goodbye. I'm going to let you get out of here, and I know you got midday news tomorrow, and unfortunately the sports updates get a little bit lighter until Bucs season returns, and I know Packers got a big one Sunday, and man, thank you, man. This is awesome. You're the one who hired me, and now 3 seasons later, here we are, and this has been a heck of a ride, and wouldn't trade it for the world, man. Thank you for everything.
And let me say this, too, before we get to break. I went beating on the door of people's offices saying, we got to get Dom in here. Dom has got to do this show. This show is tailor-made for him. In the history of Brewers Extra Innings, nobody has put more time into this program than Dom. And for those who are listening, following us online, You follow Dom's social media. He loves the game of baseball. It comes through each and every show. He's great at teaching the game of baseball. He understands things that are going to happen before they happen. You have put more into the show than anyone could ever imagine, and you are a treat to listen to.
Thank you.
And your work doesn't go unnoticed, and I hope people listening understand just how passionate you are about this. And your star is only rising. Would love to have you back here next year and just to kind of keep on rolling. You belong in a play-by-play booth, and that opportunity is coming for you, too. I know it.
I think it'll come when it's supposed to come. And it's been a weird year for the Cotroneo family in the play-by-play booth. But, I'm patient. I'm happy. This is a great spot to be. Thanks to all the people that have called. And we still got more people on the line. I got to get to them still. And I'm about 3 pages late on text right now, too. But, Greg, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love this job. Love talking baseball. Like I said, I could talk until the cows come home. This is my dream. I just want to talk about baseball with people. If we disagree, that's fine. If we agree, that's cool too. But I love being surrounded by like-minded people, and you've put me in a position to do that, so thank you.
Well, keep after it, brother, and good luck in the playoffs, too. I know you'll be out on the road here before too long.
I'm on a plane in about 10 hours or so off to Cleveland with our good friend Brian Anderson. So thank you, Greg. Appreciate
brother. You bet, man. Hey, man.
We'll talk to you later.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
That was a bro hug on the radio.
Bro hug on the radio, painting pictures here for you. I'm going to get to some texts. David, Doug, Mike, Patrick, Terry. You're next up in the batting order after this on 620 WTMJ.
Trust in your family's comfort at home with Cider Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. They're the oldest family-owned HVAC company in southeast Wisconsin. 4 generations of Ciders, and their highly trained technicians provide a one-stop shop for all home and business comfort needs, including an emergency service line that's always live and a 12-year parts and labor warranty on all Daikin products. Get peace of mind by scheduling maintenance today with Cider Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. That's SEIDER, cider.com.
Some things are fine to buy from a vending machine, but despite what a certain national online company tells you, a car's not one of them.
Let's see. Cheese Doodles, Mr. Nougat Bar. Oh, here we go. Green 4-door hatchback. Honey, we're gonna need some more quarters.
Sure, they make it seem convenient, but it won't be so convenient if you have a problem with the vehicle you buy. And if it's after 7 days, good luck. Adam member dealers also let you search online. And unlike those national companies, you get to see the vehicle in person and test drive it before you buy it. You also have the assurance that the vehicle's been thoroughly tested, and if any issue does come up, your local Adam member dealer is right here to service it, and can also provide low financing and top dollar for your trade. Think about that before you take a chance with their so-called vending machine.
What? It's stuck! No! Oh, rats!
Start your search at adamm.com.
This is Richard Salinas, registered nurse with Rejuvenex Arthritis Clinics, and I want to talk about exactly what we do. When you come here, you're going to get 2 shots with 2 very small needles. One will be a medication called Toradol, which is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, completely different from a standard steroid or cortisone injection. This medication is safe and a great pain reliever. The other will be hyaluronic acid, which is a naturally occurring fluid found in all of our joints. What hyaluronic acid does is it helps recoat the inside surfaces to provide cushioning and lubrication. It helps slow down the osteoarthritis process to a point where patients may not need surgery. All of this combined with using our state-of-the-art Ultra G machine developed by NASA has produced profound results. What we do works. And the best part about this is that insurance covers most of our patients' treatments. Go to Rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
People across Wisconsin are enjoying the rewards, stability, and flexibility of a career in healthcare. Why not you? WIS Caregiver Careers can get you started as a certified direct care professional. You'll learn the skills you need to make life better for older adults or people with a disability. All training is free and online. Plus, earn $500 in bonuses. Start your new career. Sign up today at WisCaregiverCDCP.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Department of Health Services.
Brew October is sponsored by Delta Dental.
Okay, we're still going. I'm Dom Cotroneo, Energizer Bunny. Let's keep going. David from Superior texted this in at a loss for words. Very tough ending to a great season. Thanks for all you do. I'm just going to blow through some texts here, so bear with me. I just want to make sure everybody's heard at some point tonight. George from Pewaukee, 2 runs, not enough. Poor hitting tonight. Trying to maximize the offense. Why was Haas on the bench instead of Sanchez? Hey, Gary hit a double tonight, so let's not ignore that as well. He got left stranded. This one from Mike in Michigan. It was a wonderful season, but what a gutting loss. This one stings worse than 19 wild card game because it was a good team that should have went further. This team overcame several major injuries to win the division. The rookies and the young guys stepped into his starting leadership roles to carry the team. Murph's an outstanding manager, had a great game plan, but sometimes you can do everything right and still fall short. Still trying to process this one of another what could have been. This one, doubting that the Cubs and Cardinals, or that they will get better too. The Brewers will not win the Central. Like, hey, well, what? I mean, sure, let the doubters begin already. The body's not even cold yet, man. Cool, keep doubting them. That's fine. Back to back, they've won 3 out of the last 4. I know Willie's probably gone, but this team seems to find a way. Murph managed an excellent 2 games. Williams saves that one 90+% of the time. Shame they left the runners in scoring position. Great season, such a painful way to end it. Obviously a frustrating Devin performance, but I think we were 0 for 9. Another runners in scoring position note there as well. Not a good series for Willie and Contreras. That one is from Paul. This one, great job. Thanks as always. Caller said earlier with Mark having pockets and that sort of thing. Injury-prone, Woody, Yelich, etc. I looked at the score 2-0 in the 7th because I had a nap and then the game on. Williams conceding the series. That was a tough way to wake up from a nap in that one as well. Talk to you next year, though. Appreciate that one from the 414. Heard a few people say that Murph should have pulled Devin. My question to them is, well, then who would you have brought in? I agree. That's the guy. You don't make a backup plan for the guy. That one is from Robert in Menominee Falls. Crushing loss. This one from Mike in Colorado. Bob Uecker sounded devastated as he signed off. Too bad. This time when he signed off, he did not say anything about him being back next year. Gosh, I hope so. You just heard Greg and I talk about that for a while. This one, George from Milwaukee again. Brewers are one of 4 teams not to win a World Series. More talent is needed. They're trying, man. If it was that easy, everybody would do it if there was a talent farm in the backyard. David, you've been waiting patiently here in Milwaukee. David, you're live on Brewers Extra Innings.
Hello, can you hear me?
I got you.
Hello. Appreciate it. I just want to say, first off, everyone in the booth, I really appreciate you. I mean, you guys are generational legends. I mean, day in and day out, win or loss, I tune into you guys after the Brewers game, right? To hear your voice, it's kind of like, I wouldn't even say nostalgic yet, but I believe you guys are going to go a lot of places. Moving forward, just want to say I've been a Brewers fan for all my life. I'm 18 right now, kind of hitting hard. Was there for Yelich run, that Yelich hits a home run, hits a walk-off home run back-to-back, blah, blah, blah. Just want to say I love my grandmother. She put me on this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we're going to get started. So I think that Devin has a little bit of key to this, right? It's not his fault entirely. I love the guy. Keep Devin. He's just a guy, right? I mean, I was at today's game and yesterday's game, and I'm looking at this the scoreboard on the top right. I look at 11 hits all season, right? That's insane. I mean, like, you put some random person there, no one's going to compete as much as Devin has, right? I feel like people are starting to doubt, like you just said, the doubters, let them doubt, right? Two-peat champs, right? We are the Brewers. With Yelich, I feel like that back injury, he's back. All right, I can't guarantee anything, but I feel like Yelich is going to be the man next year. Whether Willie stays or not, Yelich is going to step in and become that captain. If not Reese, right? I know Reese didn't have the best of years, but I feel like Reese will definitely step up. But if he didn't step up, Yelich's there, and these young guys, right? I actually last year postseason I got to meet Sal. He got a really nice picture with him. I got his autograph. But like these guys, they're generational talents that everyone is just sleeping on, right? I mean, they have crazy years, and I just want to say, like, Brewers are my team, and there's nothing I can say in terms of like Murph. I think Murph did a phenomenal job, regardless if he lost or not. I wouldn't want anyone else besides Devin Williams on that mound. It's just natural, right? That's been the guy. He always will be the guy in my heart for this season, for this game. There's not really much else to say besides, like, it just really hurts. You were saying maybe an hour ago, it's a punch in the gut, a punch in the gut, a punch in the gut. I mean, to me, it's just like, wow, man. you see this all your life, and it's like, holy cow, we just got to get past one round and we're there. I mean, 2018, 2019, that was something else, right? But
yeah.
I feel like next year with all these people coming in, not to mention the scouts and stuff, I think we're going to have something crazy. I'm talking 100 and crazy, right?
Whoa. That's a hard number. No, we even got the 100 this year, and the Dodgers have Ohtani and Freeman and Betts and Glasnow and all, so it's hard. But I appreciate your honesty there, man. I think
that might be a stretch. That might be a stretch.
I mean, I appreciate it, man. I think this is a year that you started to believe, man, and I think a lot of fans believed. I thought it did feel different. It really did, and the guys agreed it felt different. It really did, and baseball just exists sometimes to mess with you, man. And patience is a cruel, cruel, cruel game to play because you don't win very often. That's the thing about patience. And no one wants to be patient when it comes to winning. Everybody wants to win now. If it was that easy, everybody would do it. 29 teams are going to go home mad about losing. And well, maybe 28, maybe not the White Sox. I'm kidding. But the thought is here is just like, you're so close, man. Like, you get one, you feel like you can be that hot team that makes it out of the wild card round, but you've always been the sexy hot team that everybody wants to pick, and then you fall short. So one day we'll figure that all out. Appreciate the call there, David. Doug in Baraboo. Doug, you're live on Brewers Extra Innings.
Good evening, Dom. This was a very, very fun season. I really enjoyed it. And it was
Thank you, man.
Very tough ending. I would like to thank you for all your shows over this past year, and also your colleagues, Greg, Craig, Augie, and I believe it was Bob that filled in for you on Tuesday nights.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really enjoyed Greg's insight on the locker room that he just did on the radio with you. I had we were at all the games this week. Tuesday, and I was out of commission for a while, so maybe I missed this. But I was wondering why Cullen Ray wasn't introduced Tuesday. I know, was he totally cut from the team, or?
No, he was introduced. You might have just missed it. They went in a weird order. They went reverse alphabetical order for the non-starters and for the non-rostered guys. Ray probably would have been added to the roster for the DS. They just decided to leave him off the roster for the wild card round, given they had 4 starters that they felt were higher on the depth chart than him. But no, Ray was in the building. In fact, I talked to Ray earlier today, so no alarm there.
Okay, that makes me feel a lot better because I thought they missed him. Now, just going into next year, I was wondering what you thought about. Do you think Mitchell is going to be eventually be an everyday player and not, batting lefties? And
I think he should be. I think what we saw in these final 2 weeks, 2 things that were proven to me in these final 2 weeks. Terang and Mitchell deserve the shot to play every day against lefties. Because what's the worst that can happen? Oh, he doesn't hit well against lefties? All right, go back to the status quo. And I thought the at-bats that we've seen, and even Terang in this series too, right? I just really love what they found, and I think they're dynamic players that you want in there every day. Yelly was given the opportunity to face lefties, and he handles them decently well for a left-handed hitter. So I think all of that. Did you have anything else on the mind, Doug, or is that it?
Just one more. Going into next year again with Sal Frelick, I really enjoy him as a ball player. But do you think? And I believe he had only 32 RBIs, and he played full time. Do you think that's productive enough for an outfielder?
I think it's not his role, right? He's not the guy that's here to drive in runs. Also, it's where you hit in the order too. He's hitting 6, 7, 8, 9 majority of the second half of the season. He still scored 66 runs. His on base was better than league average at 320. He hit homer tonight, but that's not his game plan. He gives you Gold Glove caliber outfield defense. You got to do something extraordinary, and the 2 things he does extraordinary are defense and bat to ball. And we also got to remember, he's 200 games into his big league career. This is still very early for him, and I'm expecting him to blossom next season, and I think he's going to be a really important piece for the Brewers moving forward. He's another lefty that has handled lefties in a similar fashion to Terang to this point. But I appreciate your listenership all season long, Doug. Thank you, man.
Okay, and when's Brewer Weekly? When does that get going again?
We're going to take a little breather here in October because I got to go do the American League playoffs. We'll be back in November as of now.
Okay. All right. Sounds
You got
good.
it. You got it. Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it. Get to a couple more calls here as we begin to land the plane. Mike in Milwaukee. Mike, you've been waiting. You're live on Brewers Extra Innings.
How you doing?
I'm better. I'm doing great. I'm hanging in there. It's a good therapy session.
Well, we need therapy tonight, don't we?
Amen.
I'll tell you what. There's a couple things that few people said early tonight, and then there was a guy that just was on the phone a couple of seconds ago that was talking about on how, that we should have left Williams out there. The thing is, guys have on and off days, and the great guys have very, very few off days and always are on. But when a guy is off, you can watch the pitches. And when you're not getting anything close, and he wasn't close except for the balls that they hit, except for one guy.
Respectfully though, he was 1-2 on Lindor, 0-2 on Vientos, 0-2 on Nimmo. I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with you there, man.
But what happened then?
Yeah, they got hits.
Then he starts throwing terrible. Well, but then he was throwing terrible pitches. And what I'm trying to get at right now is, because I love the guy, and he's been fabulous. But the fact of the matter was, he wasn't on tonight. This tonight was not his night.
Yeah, I agree.
And normally you would say you leave a guy in, but he was so far off. He was throwing balls that were 2 feet over the plate, and then he was. Don't say he wasn't, because he was, and he was not on. And I guess what? Sometimes you got to say, you know what? This is the end of the year. If we don't win now, we're done. And it's not his night. He can't help it. It's not that he's not trying. He's the best guy that there is in baseball. I don't care what anybody says. He's the best guy. Tonight was not his night. Take him out.
Agree. Again, when would you have taken him out?
I would have taken him out. Oh my God. Well, I may have taken him out a lot earlier than you might think, but
so he has to face a minimum of 3 batters. So the earliest you could take him out is before the Alonso at bat, and you're telling me that you're going to tell Joe Ross get hot right now after striking out Nimmo.
Before that, if you saw what happened right after that, that would have been the time, because he had not been sharp, and then he struck him out, and then he wasn't sharp again, and then what happened? Well, he just fell apart. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And
I would have pulled him after the hit by pitch of Winker.
The man is great. Well, okay. Now we're kind of in agreement there, because, and I'm sorry, Winker, my God in heaven, of all the clowns in the world, and don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to badmouth anybody, but the guy is.
Some people deserve it. Some people deserve it, if you catch my drift.
Yeah, okay, thank you. But he's just no good. But here's the thing. My manager of the year is Pat Murphy.
Amen.
The best manager in baseball. The best manager in baseball. What he's done this year is just, nobody could have even imagined that this could have happened with the Brewers this year. He's just been great. And then we've gotten lucky with guys, but he's the opposite, if you will, of what we had for the last few years as a manager. We have a guy that's allowing baseball players to play baseball, which is exactly what it's supposed to be. They're baseball players. I played baseball. I'm the same age as Augie, as a matter of fact. I played 4 years in Milwaukee. He was not here. He was in Kewanee. But I knew who he was. I was not a pitcher. I was an outfielder. But I played 4 years in high school. And it's not that I didn't play. I know this game. And I grew up with it. I grew up with baseball. I grew up My uncle's next door neighbor was Don Davidson, that was the traveling press secretary for the Milwaukee Braves. We used to go to the Braves games anytime we wanted to for free. And he was a beautiful man, by the way. On Marietta and Locust he lived. And by the way, when the Brewers went to the World Series, he called up my dad and said, "Hey, you and the boys want to go to the World Series? I got tickets for you."
Beautiful.
And you know what he said then?
Man.
My dad goes, "Yeah." He goes, "The usual seats?"
Oh, must be nice.
The usual seats. The Braves
must be nice. Unreal.
But you know what?
That's
I grew up with
unreal.
baseball, and I love baseball, and now we have a manager that I really do believe is the best manager in baseball. He's taken a team that shouldn't have gone anywhere, and I think with one, well, I don't even want to talk about the first game,
right?
Because we shouldn't even.
I get
be
it.
there.
I'm gonna help you land the plane here, Mike. Because like I told somebody earlier, if I let you go any longer, I'm gonna have to put you on WTMJ payroll, man. But I love that you're a baseball guy through and through. I love that you love Murph. I love that you were there for the Milwaukee Braves, and I love that you've been here all year long. And yeah, we can disagree on when Devin would have come out. I think it comes down to a matter of execution. He didn't execute against Pete Alonso. He did, and that's why the Brewers are packing up their things in the locker room right now. But I appreciate your listenership, all right?
Go Crew.
Amen. I love it. I love it. Two more callers here on the line. Patrick and Tosa. Patrick, you're live here on Brewers Extra Innings.
Hey, brother. Thanks for taking my call, and I hope somebody's still listening after that. I just want to say thank you guys. You gave me tickets this morning on virtual baseball. I
Awesome. Love that.
And got to the game with you guys, so thank you, WTMJ, and thanks, Bob Uecker. If it's his last game, I've been listening to him my whole life, and shout out to Bob. At the game today, beautiful game. You know, I think I have a different feel this year like everybody does. You know, we've been Brewer fans, and we've been through the Craig Counsell years, and I don't feel the same way after this loss. I feel like this was an expectation year where we had low expectations going in, and now, you know, Pat Murphy kind of led us to a different tune. You know, today I didn't feel like Pat Murphy made any mistakes. I was at game one where I felt it was a little Craig Counsell-like. But I think he kind of redeemed himself today by letting Freddie Peralta pitch at eighth inning. He kind of won Freddie back over, won the team back over in that regard, you know, giving him a chance to kind of be in a big moment again and showing him that it's not about the small picture, it's about the big picture. And I think Pat's a great manager, like everybody's been saying. And lastly, I kind of snuck down to the front row towards the end of the game where one of my friends had season tickets, and I was by the on-deck circle, and Curio was on deck when we hit that double play to end the game, and he was looking around, and he just stared at the crowd when the game ended for a good minute straight. It wasn't just a short look. He just stared into the crowd, and then when he saw the Mets celebrating and Winker being an idiot in the middle of the field, taking his shirt off and them all celebrating, Curio broke his bat into millions of pieces on the on-deck circle, just hitting it into the ground. And you would think that might be bad sportsmanship, but it was actually like a Michael Jordan type sign of this kid doesn't want to lose. And that was reassuring to me because he wanted that at bat and he wanted the city to win. And I just witnessed that live up front, and I thought that was the coolest thing, that we have a 20-year-old kid that was so, you know, upset that he didn't have a chance to just win the game for the city. I think we got a superstar, and I think we have a bright future. So thanks for the tickets. Go Brewers, and go Bob Uecker, and thanks for everything, guys.
Great little documentation there. Way to paint the picture, Patrick. Appreciate that. And with Churio, man, like, I don't speak a lot of Spanish. I speak a little Spanish. And from my few conversations with Jackson, and I've got to know him a little bit, man, you nailed it there, Patrick. He is a competitor. And he comes off, you know, kind of like a teddy bear. Yeah. You know, well, 20 years old in the big leagues, how incredible. That dude goes to work, and he's learned what it takes, and he's tasted a little bit of success. And the most addicting thing in the world is success, and especially success early in your career when you feel like, oh, the whole world's ahead of me. Now, it could be gone in the blink of an eye. So he wanted that AB. He knew he was going to do something crazy there. I mean, what if I told you that in May, right? Like Jackson wanted that at bat, right? That's a beautiful thing. Let me get to one more caller here, then we're going to get ready to land the plane. Terry in Waukesha. Terry, you're live on Brewers Extra Innings.
Hi, thanks for taking the call. So I'm just calling because I'm super excited for the next year, for sure, for the Brewers. I think it's super encouraging. We've got great talent. It's a young group. It's cool to see how they all jive. I think of Murphy as being very similar to Harvey Keene, just as far as how he kind of has taken all these guys under his wing. They all do. I know managers do, but there's just a real, very likable thing. I can't even think of the word I'm looking for. He's a very likable man. You can just tell. Like,
personable.
Sense that personable is more like it, yeah. But he reminds me of Harvey Keene. And it was fun because I went to the game. I went to the first and I went to tonight's game. And tonight's game I went with my sister, who both of us coincidentally were working for the Brewers back in '82. That was the first year. I worked there for 6 seasons. And back when they had tailgate parties before the game, and she was a vendor. And then I got to, like, sit down by the Cardinal dugout to hang out with the big wheels and run for them in between innings at the concession stands, bringing them things. For a 17-year-old girl in high school at the time, I would never have thought that I would have become such a Brewer fan, but it was just electrifying to be in that stadium, just like it was now. Just super, super times. And I think I'm very encouraged. I've used the word super too many times. I'm very encouraged for this team, and they remind me a lot, just going back to the 80s and how those players all jive too. Just very encouraged by all of them.
I love that. That's a great way to end our callers. Terry, thanks for lifting all of our spirits here at the end of the night. There is still a great future here. I know there's some uncertainty with Willie, but, man, there are some more pieces on the way that, man, I think they're going to make some memories for a long, long, long time. And the guy at the top of that list is Jackson Churio, right?
Yeah, and what I was going to say, I still hear, right?
Yes.
That each one of them contribute, and that's the thing that's also really cool, is like on any given night, somebody else stands up and they're the hero. But Churio, for sure, like I'm so excited for him at such a young age. Kind of makes me think of a Robin Yount type player, but I like it. He's also very personable. But each one of them, like all of a sudden Hoskins comes up and does something. Bowers does something, and it's a little bit of everybody. It's not just, Mitchell too. So I think we've got a really good team, and I just feel comfortable when any one of them is up to bat, because any one of them can do anything at any given time.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you for the call, Terry. Hope you have a great night and a great off season. Appreciate you. All right, we're going to take the last break of the night. I know there were a lot of texts I didn't quite get to, but a lot of y'all were starting to say the same things and stuff that we've already said at this point. But at the same time, I've read every single one of these texts. I promise you. I'm just out of time. And it just, at this point, we're all repeating ourselves, and we can sit here and say the same thing over and over and over again. But, this is going to sting for another 25 minutes. And when the clock hits midnight, all eyes on 2025. All right, let's take our last break of the season as we come back after this on WTMJ.
Do you want the economy mulch or the premium? The only real difference is that the premium mulch has thicker strands, while the economy mulch is finer. But the colorant we use for both is of the highest quality, and that's why the color of our mulch lasts longer. And our mulch comes from trees, not pallets, and we process it all in-house. That's why our prices are so low. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection. At Erickson's Landscape Supply, we have durable, maintenance-free polywood patio furniture and #1 grade treated natural pine Amish-made patio furniture. And we also have a wonderful assortment of concrete benches, statues, and fountains available in a selection you just gotta see to believe. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less, plus a whole lot more. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection or stop on in today.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Brew October is sponsored by Delta Dental.
It's funny now, I opened the show with the Bart Giamatti line, that baseball breaks your heart, and it kind of goes around every year postseason, but now everyone else kind of latching onto that line as well. Again, it's called Take Time for Paradise, Americans in their games. So highly recommend it. Literally, you'll read it in like 2 hours. It's a short story book. Former brief commissioner of baseball, Bart Giamatti. Yes, Paul Giamatti. Yes, they're related. Anyway, as I'm in my final segment of the season, I just sit here and I'm overwhelmed with gratitude. I really am. I know the season fell short and there's only so much I can do to anything about that, right? My mantra is control what you can control. And man, it's been an awesome year. It really has. And it sucks that I'm not going to be talking about Brewers playoff baseball for the rest of this year, but I've still got a lot of work coming my way here with TBS postseason coverage with our good friend Brian Anderson. And then we'll finally get some R&R once October is through. But I got to start with some thank yous here, man. First and foremost to everybody here at the Milwaukee Brewers. Tyler Barnes at the top, Ken Spindler, and everybody involved with the broadcasting side of things that, let us do these shows as your home of the Brewers. Appreciate you guys more than you know. Rick Schlesinger, Mark Atanasio, we have a professional relationship that understand that I got to ask some tough questions sometimes, and I really do appreciate them. PR staff, Mike Vasallo, Andrew Grumman, Daniel Crooks, you guys are the best. Thank you so much for all the help that you guys have done this year. To the guys down in the clubhouse that, the security guard, Fred, to all of our friends in and around the ballpark, Tony and Joe and Ben, and Nick, and the list goes on of the guys that just, sometimes you just want to talk to somebody that isn't a player, and those guys are great too. The coaching staff, can't say enough. Ozzie Timmons, every time I saw you, he's like, what do you got today? And I'm like, I'm ready to go. I always want to talk hitting with Ozzie. Connor Dawson, I hope your Chiefs lose. Just kidding. Love you, CD. Q Barry, love talking base running with you. Matt Erickson, Appleton's own. Jim Henderson, one of the proudest Brewers, and Canada's own. Charlie Green in his first year on the staff. The bullpen catchers, Berger and Correa, you guys are great. Augie in the video room, Alex, the list goes on with that. The players, man, I can't thank you guys enough. I know none of you are listening right now, but man, I can't thank you guys enough letting me stick a microphone in your face since February, and here we are at the end of this incredible run. Thank you for your insights and listening to my questions and letting me be a nerd and let me say stupid stuff or whatever. Just let me hang out and live a dream. To Pat Murphy, man, I met you, Pat Murphy, in 2014 as you were between jobs trying to figure out what to do after, or 2015, I should say, after leaving the Padres, figuring out if you're going to come up to Milwaukee with Craig Counsell back at Arizona State. And I am honored to cover your team on a daily basis. I learn something new every day, and I really do appreciate your company, to say the least. Then the next thank yous obviously go to you, the fans, for listening all season long. I don't have a job without you. It's the truth. And it just is an incredible thing to say that I get to talk about baseball for a living, no matter how crappy or how late some of these games are. Here we are at 11:40. We've been on the air for over 2 hours. It's a cool job, man. I'm so lucky, and I'm so grateful that you guys let me talk about baseball and tweet with me, even the mean ones. It's okay. It's all good. It rolls off my back. Brewers are going to be back, man. I believe it. And then a couple more thank yous here. Jeff Levering, Lane Grindle, Josh Mauer, Kent Summerfield, and, of course, Bob Uecker. Man, I am honored, humbled, and quite frankly just feel inferior at times when I'm in your guys' company. And you guys are so good. The system here in Milwaukee is incredible. Of every freaking year, you guys are better and better and better. And it all starts at the top with Bob. So I've learned so much from you guys. I can't thank you all enough for what you've done for my career and again to the folks here at GKB. I already said thanks to Greg Matzik, to Ashton Rotman, to Michael Spalding, to Tiff Pua, to Craig Karmazin. Yeah, man, I'm honored. I'm humbled. I'm blessed. It's the best job ever, man. I don't know if I'll be back next year. I hope so. You know, it's not a bad thing if I'm back next year, but just know if I'm not back next year, it's for good reason. But I love it here, and I've loved that I've put down some roots here in Milwaukee in the good land, and what a fun place. What a fun place. And last but certainly not least, all of our producers all season long. Tonight, Nate Rilling drawing the short end of the stick, getting the long show of the year. Max Meyerson worked with us the last 2 nights as well. Matt Yazel has been with us all year. Isaac Marquardt, Evan Witalison. You guys are all rock stars that help me out and make my job a whole lot easier. That is going to do it for me in the 2024 season. You know, thanks for the great birthday gift yesterday, guys. But we're 1-1 as a 30-year-old. Nonetheless, the Brewers will be back in February. And I hope to see you there in spring training at American Family Fields of Phoenix, where it'll be much warmer in February in Arizona than it will be here in Milwaukee. But the spring will return, and baseball will be back. We will enjoy the Brew Crew getting ready for the 2025 season before we know it. My name is Dominic Cotroneo. Most of you know me as Dom. Thank you for listening all season long. And once again, until next time, keep on swinging.
You know, you might think that just because your home's windows are leaking air, foggy, or even broken or cracked, that you need to replace your entire window. But I'm here to tell you that just isn't the case. I mean, if the framework of the window is intact and all that needs to be repaired is the glass, then a quick phone call over to Les's Glass can get you a verbal quote. Or we can send an estimator out to your home to show you just how much money we can save you versus replacing your entire window. We remove the old glass, install new glass, and voila! You virtually have a brand new window at a fraction of the cost of full window replacement, along with a full 10-year warranty against seal failure too. So give us a call, because I think we can save you a few bucks. This is Stacy Sinks with Les's Glass Service. If it's a new glass shower door, fogged or broken insulated glass replacement, or affordable glass and mirror home decor that you've been looking